How about those Phillies? I think I might change it to Phillies in 5.
Name the bet.
They're going to win every game in Philly.
Name the bet.
They're going to defend.
No. It's not what I said. I said name the bet.
All right. Because you said Houston in 6.
No, I'm betting you said Philly in 5. What do you want to bet that doesn't happen? That's what I thought.
$10.
Done.
So finally, November 1st, 2022, the National Football League
Came to Moulton.
got to where it needed to go.
Came to Moultonville. There's Fansville on Dr. Pepper. There's Moultonville inside the Miller and Moulton show.
Come on now, you were advocating for it too.
Oh, I not like you though. But the Bucks and Packers did nothing.
Not a damn thing. Neither did the Rams.
And T.J. Hawkinson was available.
Apparently so.
I mean, for a second and a third, you could have had T.J. And you might have to give a little more if you're Tampa because, well, not really.
Well, no, hell, they traded him in the division.
Unbelievable. Not only did the Penguins give up a 5-3 third period lead, they opened it's on here. They opened the overtime with a 2-minute power play.
Bruins are 9-1.
Right.
I'd like to thank the Brooklyn Nets for replacing the Knicks as the biggest NBA shit show in New York. I'd like to thank them. James Dolan has got flowers at the front desk. Wow.
We'll have to talk to Seth about Kyrie today.
Oh, that'll be lively. I almost brought it up with David Sampson.
I almost did too, and probably should have.
What about Kyrie?
Kyrie promoting.
Is that a joke? Is that a joke? No,
Are you serious?
NBA guy. Are you? Is that a joke? What about Kyrie?
I thought you were talking about his performance for a second. Yeah, he had 4 points.
Could care less about his performance. He
That's
sent
right.
out an
I
anti-Semitic tweet.
He sent out 2.
To be honest, I didn't even read the tweets.
Okay, neither did I. But are you aware that they happened?
Yeah, but
it's a lot bigger story than Kyrie's performance.
I remember, and the fact that they've done nothing to him.
Nothing.
In New York City, in Brooklyn.
This just in. There's a couple of Jewish people there.
Oh, yeah. There were fans sitting courtside. You saw that?
Yeah.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy hump day. We asked the question, how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Great show lined up for you. Some terrific guests. Not like there's anything going on in the sports world. My goodness. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. What a day and night yesterday was in the sports world. Absolutely terrific.
I try to keep the starting five to one big notebook page. I'm one of those big notebook guys. The standard, little square paper, whatever it is. That doesn't work for me. I like the rectangular notepad.
Right. You're good. 8.5 by 11.
Yeah.
Standard size piece of paper.
Yeah, big legal pad. Right. And that's what I put the starting five on. And when I can't fit it all on one page, that's the kind of sports day it was yesterday. You know why, Mark? All right. And ideally, we would produce the show and we would have like big, holy, religious sounding music in the background. Like, hallelujah, hallelujah. Because that was me yesterday afternoon.
Oh, you were giddy as a school kid yesterday.
Over under 5.5 on the number of trades in the NFL trading deadline. Ha! Please. Let's double it. How about that? Let's go over under 9.5. And I'll take the over. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yes, write it down, ladies and gentlemen. November 1st, 2022, the NFL now has a trading deadline. It's official. We are doing this. Oh, it's on. Yes. Yes, Mark. Just by myself on the plane, just looking around. I was wanting to be that 3-year-old kid who runs up and down the aisle. That's what I wanted to do.
Did you inadvertently kick the chair in front of you at any point during a trade? Did it get you so excited that like a left leg just kind of kicked the chair in front of you?
Mark, I usually don't listen to the TV when I'm on a plane. I usually just have it on in front of me, and I use it because I'm going to fall asleep. Or if I fell asleep immediately and I wake up an hour or so into the flight, I just put it on. I just need wallpaper, just something to distract me. Well, when the trade started happening, I got to undo the seatbelt. I got to get up. I got to find my bag. I got to find the earplugs, and I got to listen to this. I mean, and I'm twitching, okay, and I'm fumbling through my thing, and it wasn't very hard to find. It's actually I put it in a spot, one zipper, boom, it's right there. It was a mess, an absolute mess. Dropping things, bending down, picking them up, getting hit by the cart person. I'm bumping into the person next to me. Sorry, excuse me. All right, this is really big. Sorry. Okay, get into the seat, bump into the person next to me. I'm really sorry. All right.
And David, apparently now you either paid for or have enough status that you are allowed to text on flights, because this is a new occurrence for me to get a response from you while flying, or at least early on in the flight, because you are usually, like most of us, get on the plane, you put your phone on airline mode, and
got
you
lucky.
do your thing.
Got lucky. When all what started to happen, we were taken off 30 minutes late. So I was actually in the seat. All right. And this is how big it was. You know me, Mark. I'm asleep before we take off.
Right.
In fact, I'm often asleep before we back away from the gate. All right. This is how big the trading deadline was. I'm not asleep. I'm fumbling through because I need the earbuds and all that. And then I'm answering texts. I mean,
and initiating text. I mean, you were all over me. I was watching a documentary yesterday when I got home from the show, and I've got Moulton going, we got 3, we got 4.
Watching a documentary. We have a trade deadline.
Yeah, the trade deadline was still going to go on whether or not I was watching the documentary or not. Here's this thing. You can multitask. All I have to do is read the ticker.
You can watch that documentary at any point in time. This was the first NFL trading deadline, despite what they've tried to say before. I know Von Miller got dealt last year. That was a single trade. This was a trading deadline. Almost the entire league partook in it, except, of course, 3 or 4 of the teams that really needed to.
Tampa Bay, hello.
What in the wide, wide world of sports are you guys not doing? How about the Green Bay Packers? I will say some of the memes were outstanding yesterday. Like the picture of waking somebody up from a nap, and they would say, this is what's going on in the Green Bay headquarters with GM Gutenkust at 4:03 p.m. because the deadline was at 4 o'clock, and somebody coming in, waking him up from his nap.
Well, at least, I shouldn't say at least. The rumors are the Packers were efforting to get Claypool and got outbid by the Bears. How you get outbid by the Bears when you need a receiver is a little beyond me. But I don't see a whole lot about Tampa even trying. Dallas nearly got Brandon Cooks at the deadline, and it didn't work out because of money. So they were trying. I'm not saying that they did the job right, David. I'm not even giving them any accolades for not getting trades done, but I'm saying that they were efforting, trying to make a trade. Tampa took the day off.
Apparently so.
They took the day off.
Well, I mean,
They're so good. There is no way you can improve upon a team that's 3-5 right now.
That's lost 3 in a row.
The receiver's golden.
I guess, Mark, there's no one that could help them.
The Buffalo Bills added 2 players yesterday.
Right.
Considers the Buffalo Bills to be the best team in the National Football League right now. They went out and added to make their team better. Tampa Bay sat on their hands.
Mark, there just wasn't a fit.
TJ Hockenson goes inside the division. They trade him to the Minnesota Vikings. And you don't need a tight end in Tampa?
Apparently not as badly as they need one in Minnesota. I applaud the Vikings.
Heck yes.
Give up a second next year, a third the year after. You get 2/4 back. Do you know, by the whole Jimmy Johnson trade chart, do you know what it graded out? They're giving up a second 1 year, a third the other. They're getting 2/4 back. Apparently, if you add it all up, put it in the blender and spit it out, the Vikings got TJ Hockenson for the 69th pick in the draft. Averages 15 yards a catch as a tight end.
I let Pat slide when he tries to talk about me being a Lions fan because I'm born and raised in Michigan. David, you've known me a long time. Have you ever known me to be a Lions fan?
That's a big no.
And this is why. I feel terribly for all my friends that are diehard Lion fans because this is a good player that they basically said, we're not going to resign. He's not a part of our future. Why would one of the best tight ends in the league help our team out down the road?
At first, I hated the trade for them. I did. Couldn't believe it. Remember what I said yesterday? If they trade TJ Hockenson, if I was a Lions fan, I would just say, well, I'm taking the next year or so off until this GM and this coach gets fired. I'm just sitting this out because these guys are yahoos. This ain't going to work. Here's the only thing, Mark, that can make this work. They are now accumulating serious assets to get a quarterback. They have 2 1s, 2 2s, and multiple 3s over the next 2 drafts. So that's the only thing, Mark. The only thing that would justify this deal, getting rid of one of your 6 best players, is if you get your hands on a young franchise quarterback, because you could argue that franchise has not had one since the Eisenhower administration. So that's it. They have to take these picks and they have to get their hands on a young franchise quarterback that works out.
And screw it up because that's what they do. They grab Stafford. He was a franchise quarterback and that didn't work. So,
well, that's true.
I mean,
my bad.
Okay. So don't talk to me about them getting a franchise quarterback, quite frankly.
Well, they've had one then. They've had one in 60 years.
Yeah. But the Miami Dolphins were serious yesterday.
Yeah. It's on, baby. We're not conceding nothing to Buffalo. We'll see you in the playoffs. First one to 42 wins. You got Von Miller. We got Bradley Chubb. Your guy's better than our guy, but our guy's younger. We got a 26-year-old pass rushing end and a 23-year-old pass rushing end. Yeah. I don't know how we're going to afford all these guys, but the cap's going up $30 million next year, and Tua's got one more year on his rookie deal, so that should really help.
After that, this could be a nightmare from a cap standpoint, but we'll figure that out when it comes because we think this cap is going up, up, up.
Stephen Ross is 82 years old. He's not really worried about when he's 85. Therefore, neither are we. It's on, baby. Let's do this.
And I even like what the Jags did.
Oh, I love what the Jags did. I think it was the trade of the day. Trade of the day.
Well, I think Miami had the trade of the day. I think it was the biggest asset out there, trying to make yourself a different maker. I think the Dolphins make the biggest move of the day. You want to pick Ridley. I won't argue with you, but I thought the Dolphins made the move of the day.
I think Jacksonville, a half a year early, went out and got their Stephon Diggs for their Josh Allen. Heading into year 3 for their Josh Allen. Love the trade. You're right. I ain't going to do them any good this year. But, I mean, who cares? I mean, honestly, at this point, if you lost 5 in a row, you're 2-6. You're rooting for draft picks at this point. Dolphins, though, it's on. And Tampa Bay, apparently it's over. We're done.
Miller and Moulton on the day after the trade deadline that finally came to Miller and Moulton.
Yes.
We'll discuss it in the starting 5. Hell, we'll probably discuss it the whole damn show. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, sandboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So, poll question: are the Dolphins now the number? Do you want something along the lines with the Dolphins? Do they move to the number 3 spot in the AFC with the trade? Who won the trade deadline yesterday?
The fact that the Dolphins essentially traded Trey Lance for Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Bradley Chubb should be regarded as one of some of the best general managing in recent history.
Well, also, they ended up with like 5 players for Laramie Tunsil.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Gosh. Just needs to pay off.
How about this? After acquiring Bradley Chubb, are the Dolphins contenders?
I like it.
Are the Dolphins contenders to the Bills and Chiefs in the AFC?
Because what's his name? Emmanuel Acho is pushing that agenda hard.
Well, so's Orlovsky. But Acho loves Tua. Acho for 2 weeks has been telling the world Tua's better than Herbert.
Yeah. Which, look at me. Look at the numbers.
All right. Say that question one more time for me, David, because I thought you worded it perfectly. With the Dolphins acquiring
Bradley Chubb, comma, are they legitimate contenders to the Bills and Chiefs? KW, you know what a contender is. A contender to the Bills and Chiefs, meaning they can go to the Super Bowl. Well,
that's why legitimate's in there. That's the key word. Legitimate contenders.
not, well, anything can happen. Look at the Bengals last year. No, I mean, when you look at the Dolphins now, do you go,
Are they the third best team? That's the way I look at it.
Right. Can they go to Kansas City in the divisional round and you go, this is a toss-up game?
Really like the Jeff Wilson pickup too.
I do too. Sneaky.
Yeah, sneaky pick.
Well, and he didn't like Edmonds, so.
Well, yeah.
And Mac, yes, the Nets got rid of the wrong guy. The only thing that can save the Nets is if the reason they're doing nothing to Kyrie is because they're secretly working on a trade. And I'm wondering if they're calling up Indiana and the Lakers and bringing back up the 3-way trade that was discussed in the offseason. And now they're saying to the Lakers, you want Kyrie, you can have him. We don't care.
You guys see the updated college football polls?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Tennessee, #1. I love it.
Yeah, it's TCU 7 that has people bent.
Oh, wow.
Behind Alabama.
Because they haven't lost.
Why? They just did it the honest way it needs to get done.
Well, they're just showing their bias right out of the chute.
Yeah. Well,
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Great show lined up for you today. Bud Elliott, little more than an hour. We'll talk the college football scene at large. The playoff committee came out with their first poll last night, and already they got people honked off. Good job, guys and gals. Good job. Jeff Cameron will join us at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. He does the sports thing in Tallahassee. We had Joe Sagacki on yesterday. He's the voice of the Canes. So you see what we're doing here. It's, Miami, Florida State week. We are the Florida Sports Network after all. And Seth Everett in 2 hours, and we're going to take on a controversial topic with Seth. So get your seatbelt ready. But Mark, we talked about the trading deadline, and you would have thought, Mark, that was my favorite story of yesterday. Because, it nearly brought me to tears.
I got you, but there was a World Series game last night, and baseball's very close to you. It is the baseball hour, and, well.
Yes, I'm getting emotional you just talking about it. But there was a subplot to the World Series, which is actually my favorite story from yesterday. By the way, if you didn't watch, the Phillies, hold on, I think they just hit another home run.
Pretty sure you're right.
This slow pitch softball team is 2 wins away from winning the World Series. They are destroying people at home. They're averaging 7 runs a game at home. And 7 was the magic number last night. 7 spit over Houston. Mark, was not the first loss of the day for the Astros yesterday. Favorite story of the day. So the Astros, they're in town for a few days. Hell, and they even got rained out. This is a long stay in Philadelphia. Make yourselves at home, boys. And, it's not just the 26 guys. We got coaches, we got front office people. Hell, we got a whole bunch of wives and girlfriends, and, we're trying to keep them out of the hotel, but they're staying right across the street. And, so, Mark, they're trying to order some food, trying to get some lunch, and then they'll head to the ballpark. So they call the famous Angelo's Pizzeria in South Philly. It's close to where they're staying. And Angelo finds out, wait, this is the Astros? Now think of the order that they're phoning in. Think of the order.
Yeah.
They're like, we ain't serving you. You're the Astros. No. Go somewhere else and eat. We're not interested.
Cater at your hotel. It's the best shot you got, boys.
So then they call nearby Mike's Barbecue. Mike's Barbecue finds out who it is. He goes, I'm not giving you guys food. You're the Astros. I love the Philadelphia sports fan. I always have. And it's why I went to Flyers games and a Rangers thing and an Eagles game and a Giants thing. I love them. I have no problem getting beer dumped on me in Philadelphia for whatever reason. Maybe it's, our snarkiness and but now there you go. How in are we? They want to order how much? $7,000 in food? Screw them. They're the Astros. I'm not interested. The quote was, I ain't cooking for them.
Why would you? And now the Astros were presented with the same thing that the Reds fans were all day yesterday with, you want to eat? Where are you going
to go? This is my favorite story of the day. So, is the city all in? No, they're the whole city. Yeah, we're in. I feel badly. I guess, the hotel has to cook for them, right? They're paying. They're there, right? Room service, except for you guys. Those 3 floors, 9th, 10th, and 11th floor, you guys get nothing.
I'd send someone else just to watch who is cooking the food at this point. I would need security in the kitchen. It'd look like a bar rescue by the time I was done.
And I have to admit, I'm a pretty big fan I would cook for them. Now, I would deliver it, and we would all have every Philadelphia sports thing you could have, we would have on it. I would have Philly stickers on the boxes. I mean, that's what I would do. But I would take their money. I mean, this is a hell of a traveling party we got here. I mean, this is an order.
Yeah, but do you realize the business that these two places are going to do in the next 48 hours for turning down the order? They've tripled their daily number easily.
And if the series does go 6, all right, they will be providing the food for the Phillies, because you have to figure the businesses in Houston have to return the favor, right?
Well, one would think that, but first off, for a team to think they're going to go to a restaurant out on the road is a little tough these days in the postseason when you're in Philadelphia. I would have stuck with the hotel catering under the anonymous name. That's just me.
Well, but you're spending 5 days, and so you want something different. Same room service, blah 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 blah. Let's get some. Well, we're right by Angelo's. I mean, they'll deliver, or we'll pick it up. Send so and so and so and so to pick it up. Let's call it an order. Hey, listen, we got a big order. We got a bunch of people. Really? What's this for? Well, the Houston Astros. Houston Astros? Not cooking for you guys. Well, it's a big order. I mean, we're talking like, $7,000. Could care less. You tell Jose Altuve to take his calzone and shove it up his... Yeah.
Calzone.
Right. I got your pepperoni pizza right here. All right, Mark. Would you have taken the order?
No. I love this. I love every part of this. No, I'd have told him to pound sand.
Okay, you're a better sports fan, business owner than I am, I guess.
But I'm telling you, the business is going to be just fine.
No, I know, you're right. Yeah, heck, it's a story.
Right, we're talking about it. You don't think Sports Radio in Philly's already brought this up 10 times?
Hell, there's probably a Philadelphia sports fan 100 miles away who is going to drive to Angelo's today just to have lunch and go, hey, I'm here because you wouldn't serve the Astros. Way to go, guys.
Absolutely. And the fact that it was 7-0 last night?
Right.
I would have also said no, by the way. You have to know that you're going to go viral by saying no.
See, and I would not have been thinking that big picture.
I wouldn't have been thinking big picture either. I would have just been the blankety blank that I am. I'm not giving you any food.
Listen, you can still root for the Phillies and cook for us. The hell I can. I'd feel like a traitor.
City of
It's my favorite story of the day. It's just, the trade deadline, the playoff committee, the Phillies hit 37 homers in the game even. Mike's Barbecue and Angelo's Pizzeria. There we go.
5-star ratings on Yelp just from Philadelphians.
Got that right. Are
1
we all
star
in?
from those in the Houston area.
Are we all in?
This is their Yelp review. We called to place a $750 order in which they told us they wouldn't serve us. 1 star.
We didn't like their service is what we're trying to say.
They used expletives when telling us what they felt about us.
Not very hospitable. So there you have it. I'm heading to Philly in a couple of weeks for Monday Night Football. We're going back. I'm going to hit up Mike's Barbecue or Angelo's Pizzeria. I'm going to congratulate them.
See? It's worked on you.
There you go. There's
Miller and Moulton.
$15 right there.
Stuff and fun on the other side. Florida Sports Network. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN play of the day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So a buddy of mine just texted me and said, as good as that was by Angelo's and Mike's, what would have been better was if they would have prepared the food, gone out and bought a couple of big garbage cans and delivered the food in the trash cans and dropped it off and said, here you go. Now, that would have been epic. God, the Astros would have been so honked. Some guy won $3 million on scratch off last week. Not in Fort Myers, but what are we at 1.2?
Yep. After I win tonight, found a penny heads up yesterday, went right in and bought 5 tickets.
Good job.
$15 seconds. Holy the door handle's broken. Interesting. 10 seconds. Starting 5. Let's do it. It's gonna be loaded. Hines to the Bills. I like that too.
Calm down.
NFL trade.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Top of the morning to you. Happy hump day. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bud Elliott 1 hour from now. Jeff Cameron, as our Miami, Florida State previews continue. He'll join us at 8 o'clock. 2 hours from now, Seth Everett. It will be animated. That we promise. Busy day yesterday. Let's get to it.
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
7-0 Phillies over the Astros. Bryce Harper got him going with a 2-run shot in the first. Harper and Schwarber had 2-run homers. Baum, Marsh, and Haskins hit solo shots. Phillies only had 7 hits, but 5 of them are homers, Mark. That'll
play.
That'll get the job done. Mark, the Phillies are 6-0 at home in the playoffs. They've only outscored their opponents 42-15. I mean, that's all. 42-15. That's basically 7 to 2.5.
They're not playing in the Metrodome, are they?
I was going to say, not only that, this is the playoffs. They're playing the best teams they can play. They're beating them by 4.5 runs a game. And now, is this where the rain out helps the Phillies even more? Because guess who they're starting game 4? They're bringing back their number 2 pitcher, the guy who started game 1, Aaron Nola. Now, he got roughed up in game 1, so maybe this isn't the advantage that it looks on paper. Astros going with their number 4 starter, Christian Javier. You would think, obviously, Phillies win. They're up 3-1. But if the Astros can win and even it up, and then they're going to send their number 1 pitcher, Verlander, against the Phillies' number 4 pitcher in game 5.
Verlander with that 0-6 World Series record, by the way.
Right, in like 12 starts.
Just for the record.
Right. But once again, it's, but baseball on paper, Mark. Talk about a sport that never goes according to script, but just on paper. How about this? Are you willing to say winner tonight wins the series?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Phillies obviously lead 2-1. College football, the playoff committee. They met all day yesterday, Mark. They're still waiting on their food from Angelo's and Mike's, but they met all day yesterday. And when they were done, they said, who's the number 1 team in the country right now? Tennessee. So there. And Ohio State's number 2. And Georgia's number 3. And Clemson's number 4. And let me tell you, a whole bunch of people thought TCU should have been number 4. People are very upset. The number of ranked teams that TCU beat, they're also undefeated. TCU has beat the most ranked teams, I will say that. But not only are they not 4, they ain't 5 and they ain't 6. That's the insult to injury right there. Hey, Big 12, you may have gotten your new TV deal with Fox and ESPN. You don't mean squat to us. Michigan's 5, and hell, Alabama can lose the game, and they're still ahead of you. Big 12. It ain't so big. UCF, by the way, 25th in the playoff committee poll, too. Mark, in all seriousness, with LSU being ranked 10th, yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me correctly. The committee ranked LSU 10th. I thought it might get Florida State ranked. See, I didn't watch the whole unveiling. They released 21 through 25, then 16 through 20, and they do it backward. So I just, when it was over, I just grabbed my phone and looked, and so I am going from 1 down. I saw LSU at 10. I went, are they going to squeeze Florida State in at the bottom? That didn't happen. But they did squeeze in UCF. Tulane at 19, the highest ranked group of 5 team. And Tulane and UCF, the only 2 group of 5 teams. Oh, by the way. 5 SEC, 5 ACC, 5 Pac-12 amongst the top 25. We had Maction last night, Mark. We went 1-1.
Yeah, Kent State played their best game of the year against Georgia.
Yeah, right. It wasn't last night against Ball State.
No, it was not. It was not.
Kent State, 7-point favorite at home, got beat by Ball State 27-20. But we took the Bobcats at home against Buffalo. And we were right on that. They won by 3 touchdowns. 2 more Maction games tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's November. Tuesday and Wednesdays mean Maction. The NFL trade deadline was yesterday, and if you had 10 on the number of trades that would take place, you're a winner chicken dinner. And the Dolphins made 2 of the deals. They gave up a first-round pick next year. It's the Niners pick, by the way, because they had 2, theirs and the Niners. They gave up the Niners first-round pick, and they gave up a 4th-round pick in 2024, and they gave up running back Chase Edmonds, and they sent them to Denver for 26-year-old pass rusher Bradley Chubb. So now they got a 26-year-old pass rushing defensive end and a 23-year-old pass rushing defensive end. I got your Josh Allen right here. Yeah. Dolphins did, if you took a look at the numbers, Dolphins had a real need. They couldn't get any pressure on the passer unless they brought more than 4 or 5 guys. And if you can't bring 6, 7 guys against Mahomes and Allen. So there you go. Dolphins also made a deal with the Niners. They sent a 5th-round pick next year to get running back Jeff Wilson. The Bears love this trade, by the way, in theory. Don't know if he's a good enough player, but I love it. The Bears finally, took them a year and a half, finally actually want to put some good players around Justin Fields. Hey, a little something for the effort there in Chicago. They gave up a 2nd-round pick. Now, think about it. This could be a top 10 pick in the 2nd round. 2nd-round pick to Pittsburgh for Chase Claypool. What do you think? They overpay, Mark?
A little bit, I think. Steelers apparently didn't want to give him up. The Packers also wanted him, so they maybe got into a touch of a bidding war and outbid Green Bay.
Well, even if the Packers are willing to give up a 2nd-round pick, and the Steelers could go, yeah, the Bears pick's going to be better. If it's even, we're going Chicago.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, you got to throw in a 5th. You got to throw in something if you want him to Green Bay, and Green Bay obviously wasn't willing to do it.
Detroit traded their talented tight end TJ Hawkinson. That seems bad enough. They traded him to the Vikings. That seems worse. They also sent 2 4th-round picks with Hawkinson to Minnesota. I don't know why they had to do that. I really don't. Now, the Vikings did give him a 2nd-rounder next year and a 3rd-rounder the following year. But TJ Hawkinson, now, he does make about $9 million next year. So he's cheap this year. He costs them a little bit of money next year. I have a feeling the Vikings are going to move on from Irv Smith. It's underachieved a little bit.
Yeah, he has, and he's hurt, and he's out for a while anyhow. So that would put the pressing need there, and they're going to see what they have with Hawkinson and Thielen and Jefferson and Cook. And look at this offense right now.
Right.
Whoa,
Right. And all you guys saying we suck and we're paper mache and 6-1. And we'll show you second best record in the NFC. Thank you very much. Jacksonville with the most interesting trade of the day. They went and acquired suspended Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley. They're giving up a 5th rounder next year, a conditional 4th rounder in 2024. That 4th rounder could become as high as a 2nd rounder, depending on A, whether or not Ridley comes back, and B, if they sign him to a contract extension, that pick becomes a 2nd rounder. But still, Mark, a 2nd and a 5th for a guy who, if he ain't a number 1 receiver, he's a 1A.
He's a number 1 receiver.
I think
I don't think there's any 1A crap about this. That's a legit number 1 receiver.
And so Trevor Lawrence beginning next year. Now, he does have to be reinstated. But the thought is that, you sit out a year for gambling. You can come back. You can still gamble. You just have to use the official NFL gambling partner in DraftKings. NBA, the Heat were down 8 going to the 4th.
Yes, they were.
And they outscored Golden State 30-15. And, both the Heat and Warriors are now 3-5. Think about it. Warriors won the title, and the Heat were a game away from playing them in the finals. But the Heat won last night in Miami, 116-109. After Jimmy Butler declared before the game, we're winning an effing championship.
We'll see.
Okay. All right. Hold you to it. The Brooklyn Nets fired Steve Nash yesterday. And, okay.
And the happiest person in the whole deal was Steve Nash.
There you go. Well, remember, Durant wanted Nash fired in the offseason. So, of course, Durant shows up for work and goes, oh, man, really? We fired Steve? I like coming to work and playing for Steve. I mean, that gives you an idea right there what Steve Nash has had to deal with, okay? I mean, Durant called for him to be fired and the general manager to be fired. And the owner and the GM and the coach had to fly out to California and kiss his you-know-what so that he would agree to come back and play for him. And then he gets fired 7 games into the season, and Durant goes, ah, man, really? That's a bummer. So the GM who fired him, he was also the one that hired him, gets asked, you got any candidates for the job? Like, do you know who his replacement is? No. Nope. Jock Vaughn's the interim, and we're starting from scratch. 3 minutes later, Shams and, what's-his-face from ESPN there, Woj, they're reporting that, they're negotiating with the suspended Celtics coach, Udoka. He's going to be the coach because he was an assistant under Nash before he got the Celtics job. Oh, yeah, it's a done deal. So Durant's a liar. Kyrie's, well, how much time do we have? And
not enough, and we're on until 10 locally.
And the GM's a liar. Looks right at him. No, man, no candidates. Jock Vaughn in the interim, and we'll figure it out. Really?
Well, there was talk of that's why Boston didn't fire him and suspended him so that no one else could hire him.
Well, but apparently now they're willing to let him walk. I mean, the word is they're not even going to ask for compensation. So it's like, you want him, take him. So, by the way, the Nets lost at home to the Bulls, 108-99. If anybody even's paying attention. And they're not in Brooklyn, by the way, I can tell you that. Orlando, the Magic are 1-7. They took a lead into the fourth quarter and lost. In OKC, 116-108. Phoenix beat Minnesota by 9 in the desert. Big night in the NHL, Mark. Kucherov with the game winner with 2.5 minutes to go for the Lightning, 4-3 over Ottawa. Meanwhile, Mark, the Panthers did it again. Remember last week they outshot the Flyers 50-22 and lost? They outshot Arizona 42-21 last night and lost.
In front of 3,215.
At Arizona State, because that's where the Coyotes are playing for the next 3 years. There were like 10 other hockey games. I'll give you one score. The Bruins are 9-1. They were down 5-2 late second, 5-3 going to the third in Pittsburgh. They scored twice, including the tying goal with a little over a minute to go. And Mark, as you told me, Penguins started off the overtime on a power play for 2 minutes. The Bruins kill that off and then score the game winner in OT. 6-5 Bruins over the Penguins.
That's a tough loss for Pittsburgh. Lose a 5-2 lead. I know it's early in the season, but those are tough ones to take.
Longtime NFL executive John McVay, who was the head coach of the Giants when they had the famous or infamous fumble at Herm Edwards' return for the touchdown. Yeah, his coaching career lasted about 4 more games. John McVay died yesterday at 91. Britt Reed, Andy Reid's son, gets 3 years in prison for the DUI and the accident that left that child, well, damaged for life. And Michigan State suspends 4 more players, Mark. So they got 8 players they've now suspended because of that brawl. They handed out gold gloves yesterday. Nolan Arenado won his 10th straight at third base. Mookie Betts won his 6th gold glove. And that was the starting 5. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
A lot going on yesterday.
So much going on. Felipe was ready, and he didn't even know if he had time to get in.
Exactly. That's on me, Felipe. That's not on you. That's on me.
Okay, a lot of meat on the bone. I get it.
A lot of meat on the bone.
That's a full meal, appetizers, and a really nice dessert.
I mean, we left off like 4 of the NFL trades we didn't even bring up.
Miller and Moulton. Bud Elliott in 35 minutes on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So we've got our poll question, right?
It's up. Yep.
Oh, excuse me.
Patrick Reed is suing the New York Post, Fox Sports, the AP, and 3 reporters.
Wow, so he's gone more scorched earth.
Yeah, he has sued Shane Ryan, Hatchett, whoever that is, the Post, Fox Sports, Doug Ferguson, and the AP for defamation. Complaint was filed yesterday.
Wow. Just to let you know what his parents have been up against. No, seriously, it's a window into that dynamic.
One minute.
Hmm.
15 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. It's the second day of November. Thanks for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bud Elliott in roughly 35 minutes' time. Jeff Cameron an hour from now. Seth Everett in our 8 o'clock hour as well. So, NFL trade deadline yesterday. Dolphins made some of the biggest, well, arguably the biggest trade the Dolphins made. The only first rounder that was given up yesterday was given up by the Dolphins. So you can assume that of all the players that was traded yesterday, they got the best one. Is that what we have to assume?
Yes, absolutely.
So Bradley Chubb goes from Denver to Miami. He's a 26-year-old defensive end, and he's pretty good at getting pressure on the passer. I mean, he averages more than half a sack a game. In a 17-game season, he would get you 9-10 sacks. That's what he's done so far in his career. And, you know, they got the pressure rate and all that. He's top 5 in the league, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. How good does that now make Miami, Mark? I mean, they're already a playoff team based on record. They'd be in today. They'd be the 5 or the 6 seed. I'm a little confused as to their conference record's better than the Jets, but the Jets beat them head to head. But
and that's the first thing you settle is the division before you settle the conference. And
right, but yet they're so whatever. So they'd be the 5 or the 6 seed today.
Look, and I love the move. I applaud the move. I think it's fantastic that they went out and got an impact player because this makes, a lot of people out there think you have to have 6 great players on your team. Well, this gets Miami pretty damn close to where they have difference makers. Now they have a difference maker on the defensive side of the football.
Well, and Xavier Howard is a top 5 corner in the league. I mean, it really is. I mean, for a great player who's paid like a great player, I could argue he's underrated. They do all those top cornerback rankings, and he never makes the list. And I'm like, yeah, you guys have not seen him play, obviously. He's a shut-down corner when he's healthy. He really is. But here's the other thing kind of inside the trade. We'll get back to how good this makes the Dolphins. To me, Mark, what this trade signaled is Tua is their quarterback. Because, they traded away a first-rounder next year. They had 2 first-rounders in next year's draft. And they had what? The ammunition so that if they needed to go get a quarterback, ... Well, I mean, this is the Dolphins looking around going, well, we don't have to acquire a quarterback. We got one.
100%. Because you're not giving up draft assets for next year if you have to go get a quarterback.
Right. You're doing what the Lions did. You're trading away good players to acquire more draft assets because, man, we got to get our hands on a quarterback.
You have to make sure that you have enough no matter what the case is. If, if the Lions, quick tangent, but if the Lions happen to go out and figure out a way to win 5-6 games the rest of the way and all of a sudden put a 6-11 record on there, they're not picking in the top 5 anymore. They've got to have the assets to go up into the top 5 with one of these teams that thinks that they have a quarterback. The Dolphins told everybody yesterday, we are fine with Tua. That's our guy going forward.
Right. And Tua's agent went, whew, cool. My guy's getting paid. This is fantastic.
I just keep thinking about how good the decision to not trade for Deshaun Watson looks now compared to back then.
You could certainly argue that. I mean, I will say we all have to see him come back and play.
That is true. When does he come back again?
Against Houston, week 11.
Technically, it's week 13 because they had sat out 11 games in a bye week. So, but yeah, for the final 6 games of the year, I think technically it's week 13. But we'll see. I mean, if Deshaun Watson comes back and looks like he did in Houston, we're all going to go, oh, damn, we forgot how good he was. But back to the Dolphins. So, okay, they got 2 edge rushers. They got a shutdown corner. They got a really good young safety. They've got a wide receiving core that's just causing havoc. At least for half a season, they still have Gesicki at tight end, who in the red zone is a nightmare because he's 19 feet tall and can run. And they have a really accurate quarterback. Think whatever you want about him. Whatever. His arm's not strong enough. Whatever.
He's too short. Whatever you want to tell me, go ahead.
Right.
But to David's point, he's an incredibly accurate quarterback.
Right. Drew Brees said all those things too. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. The ball gets there. That's it.
Patrick Mahomes underthrew Hill too.
Right. He really did. He really did. I mean, I feel like Mark Tua's got a little Jim Furyk in him. You look at Jim Furyk and you go, seriously? I got a bet on this guy? And I don't know what to tell you. He's top 10 for 15 straight years. And he'll even sneak in a major and, go sub 60 twice. I mean, he's really good. Yeah, but look at that swing. I kind of feel like that's how it is with Tua. You want me to bet on this guy? Oh, I don't know what to tell you. His production's fantastic. Yeah, but look at him. What do you want me to do? So he throws it like Jim Furyk swings it. I don't know what to tell you.
That's a good compare. That's a great comparison.
But
I don't know where you pulled that out from, but that's a good one.
Well, it's early in the morning. Stuff comes from all different angles. But all right. So back to the 6 minutes ago, the question of the day. So how good are they now?
And it is our poll question today. Basically, how good do you think the Dolphins are? With the Dolphins acquiring Bradley Chubb, are they legitimate contenders to the Bills and the Chiefs? And that means Super Bowl contenders, folks.
Yeah. That means you look at the Dolphins and you go, if they're healthy and are in the postseason, they can beat. They really can. They can go and they can score points, and they could beat Kansas City. They could beat Buffalo. And much to my surprise, Mark, because I don't think Bradley Chubb lifts the Dolphins into the Bills-Chiefs area code. I think they're in the suburbs still. Now, they moved closer to the city yesterday. They went from an hour and a half outside the city to 40 minutes.
All right, let me ask you this question. And I don't know who you had as the 3, Baltimore, but are they there? Are they now this year's Cincinnati? Have they now put themselves in a spot where going into the playoffs, they have become a very dangerous football team?
Yes. Yes. I think so. Like, I can see the Dolphins, even though you can get really bad weather in Kansas City in November, never mind January. But I actually think the Dolphins can line up with the Chiefs now. That would be a fun game. I'd still, bet on the Chiefs to win by 4. But, that's got 38-35 written all over it. That'll be, I think, a really good playoff game if that's your divisional playoff game.
And I brought up Cincinnati because they do remind me a bit of the Bengals. The offensive line is still not good.
Right.
They are a flawed football, even with what they've done. They are a flawed football team. But
yep,
they have all kinds of weapons on offense. They can now get after a quarterback,
which the Bengals did last year. Hendrickson had 14.5 sacks. They got pressure on the quarterbacks.
And when you can get pressure on the quarterback with 4, you can cause turnovers, David.
So, the problem here is, let's be honest, when you mention the Bills, nobody right now thinks anybody's going to Buffalo in January and beating the Bills. And the Dolphins, as of now, don't run it particularly well. And I think you got to shorten the game when you play Buffalo. I mean, even Kansas City, when they played them a few weeks ago, they ran the ball. They dinked and dunked a little bit. They slowed the game down. There were fewer possessions in that 24-20 game. And I don't know if the Dolphins can do it, but it's still midseason. Teams evolve. They just went out and got a running back that he liked when he was in San Francisco. Maybe all of a sudden, second half of the year, they do a little zone running scheme and it works. But right now, Mark, I still think they're in the suburbs, but I do think they moved closer to the big city.
And I'm with you. I voted no, for the record, on our poll question. I don't think that they've caught him yet, but I love the fact that now you can see a path for an upset.
Yes.
You can see the way that Miami can construct a game to beat a team that they might not be as good as. And getting to the quarterback's everything. You've got to be able to get there with 4.
Because you got to admit, they have a puncher's chance. They've got wide receivers that are flat out scary. They have a really accurate quarterback who will sling it all over the lot. I mean, Tua won't care. He's like, good, I got 40 passes. Let's go. And they got 2 pass rushers and a cover corner. I mean, to me, they're the guy. He's 3-1 underdog when he enters the ring. But you know what? He's got a right hand that could knock you out.
Ken Norton.
Ooh, wow.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Because if he hits you, he's going to get you.
Well, ask Ali. Broke his jaw. By the way, broke his jaw in the second round, and Ali finished the 12-round fight and lost a close decision with a broken jaw. Not that he was tough or anything.
Just a quick sidebar to say he could take a punch.
Right. I know he was Purdy. Okay, but he was tough. We digress. I like the Ken Norton analogy, though. You know, I was thinking Ron Lyle because, you know, to me, Norton was in the
Better than Ron Lyle. I'm telling you right now. They're not a number 6 contender. They're a number 2 or third, number 3 contender.
Okay, I like it. So if Ali and Frazier are the Bills and the Chiefs, or Chiefs and the Bills, however you want to call them, so you got him as Ken Norton. That's right there, baby. That's right there. That's fighting for the championship. That's losing close decisions for the championship.
And remember, Dolphin, all you wanted when the season started was the playoffs. And now you've gone from a playoff team, and I think overnight have turned yourself into a contender.
That's our poll question.
Contender, we'll still find out.
Right. But I will say, if I'm a Dolphin fan, even though I'm not going to win the division, so I'm going to be a wild card and I'm going to have to go on the road. If I'm a Dolphin fan, Mark, not only do I need to make the playoffs now, I need one playoff win. Remember, they haven't had one of those in over 20 years. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Boy, Dolphins-Vikings rematch. That'd be a fun game.
It was probably me, Goose. I thought we were. I thought we were done with that one. But I was the one, and I got mocked out of this room when I said, this thing's reminding me of Charlie. And everybody said, Charlie came through the Florida Straits. I'm like, I know it came through the Florida Straits, but I'm talking about the fact that everybody said it was going to hit Tampa. And it's going slowly.
Why? What's going on?
Oh, Goose is pointing out that one of us said we were done with hurricanes a week before Ian. It was probably me.
Yes, JB. Both teams should go back to wearing the uniforms they wore in Super Bowl 8. Absolutely.
Paul, unbelievable. My wife took all of the chocolate, every single thing that I would eat, and took it to work. My daughter kept all the candy she likes. All the rest of it disappeared from our house. There is the subtle way, like you can send an edible arrangement gift to your husband, and then there's the other way. You just take all the damn candy and leave the house with it. To hell with my husband is what she said. You fat bastard.
Yeah.
Fought bastard. I just want to say, Tootsie Rolls suck.
Oh, my goodness. Are you trying to get fired?
Tootsie Rolls suck. I was given
your mic's off. Your mic's off.
I was given a bucket.
No. Your mic's off. You're done. I don't want to hear from you again.
Can't have my opinion.
Not when it's Tootsie Rolls suck.
Yeah.
It's just you get too many Tootsie Rolls sometimes, and it's like, give me some.
Oh, I get too much candy that's good.
Oh, we're coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bud Elliott in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Jeff Cameron, live from Tallahassee, coming up at the top of the hour. Seth Everett next hour as well. Listen, you just shared something during the commercial break to our Twitch audience, and if by chance you've never taken in Miller and Moulton via Twitch, just try it one time. Amazon owns Twitch, so if you're an Amazon Prime customer, you actually have a free Twitch channel. So you could just, type in, hey, I want it to be Miller and Moulton, because, that's what we named the show. So that's the name of our channel.
And Twitch is free to all you. What David is talking about,
Right.
You can subscribe to a channel, which eliminates any commercials or any of the back noise that can pop out on you if you are a subscriber. And that is free if you're an Amazon Prime customer.
Right. So, check it out. Follow us, watch us, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. So, we've spent a lot of time the first 2 days this week. Halloween was a big deal to both of us this year. I even wore a costume, first time in 30 years. So was it 5 pounds, 8 pounds? How much candy did your 8-year-old come home with?
5.2 pounds of candy.
Okay. And she doesn't like chocolate.
She likes Reese's, but doesn't like much other chocolate. So chocolate and peanut butter together, apparently acceptable. The rest of it, not so much.
So think of the 5.2 pounds, how much chocolate was then left available for the parents. So I figure you're just getting fat this week, right?
Nope. Not even close.
What happened?
My wife took we did not have a lot of people come to our house for Halloween. So there was leftover candy in the chocolate that we bought.
Right.
Not to mention all of the crap my daughter didn't want that I would easily consume.
Okay.
All went into a big bowl, apparently, yesterday morning. The daughter got her candy right. It went in the big bowl with the extra candy of what she didn't want.
Right.
That I figured was mine. All mine.
See, I figured it was yours, as in you and your wife. If you would just share it, you'd spend the rest of the week and weekend just, every time you walk by, you grab something.
That would be nice. I'd probably put a few Reese's in the freezer. I happen to like them that way. But my wife yesterday decided to take all of the chocolate to work.
Whoa!
Let the coworkers eat the chocolate.
What?
See, David, we talked about this a couple of days ago on the show. It was a while back in our first act when your wife sent an edible arrangement to the studio for you in a passive-aggressive mood to tell you to start eating a little more healthy.
So this was her edible arrangement move?
Nothing edible about it. All thing that was edible left the house.
So was that the statement she was making, or did she just make a big miscalculation? Was there a motive behind this?
Her husband's too fat, apparently.
Are you sure? Like, did she say that? Did you go, because once I'm assuming you found out yesterday at some point, you probably came back from the show, you walked around the house, you went, where the hell's the bowl?
It was so bad that I almost attacked the daughter's candy, and I said, I can't do that.
No, you can't.
I mean, I could.
No, that's stepping over the line. That is. I'm on your daughter's side here. Now, I'm not on your wife's side with what she did. I mean, this is egregious. I mean, this is Tom and Giselle fight. Okay, this is bad.
She's sending a message. There's no doubt.
Well, did she own up to it, though?
I didn't even talk to her yesterday, if you want to know the truth. I couldn't even bring it up. I was so disturbed. I watched baseball.
So, here's the problem, Mark. You thought by not talking to her that you were sending a statement and that you were punishing her. And meanwhile, she came home from work and went, oh, God, this is great. He's leaving me alone. Thank goodness.
100%.
So you still don't know if your wife, who I have said is one of the 5 nicest people I've ever met. All right. Until now, everybody has that line that once you cross, but her line is like 3 states away. So she's a very nice person. Like you've said, she still does all the thank you card stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Sends actual birthday cards to people. Like
Right.
if you're in her friend circle, you get a birthday card to your house.
Right. There's 14 people who still do that. And your wife's one of them. So she's really nice.
Really nice.
So but you need to find out. Like, I had the courage to at least bring up to my wife, hey, is this edible arrangement? Is this you sending me a gift, or is this you saying, listen, you fat slob, you got to start eating fruit? And she said, oh, you need to start eating fruit.
I didn't have the strength last night to do it, David. I really didn't. It was dinner, soccer practice, and by that point, the World Series was on, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy baseball without chocolate tonight.
So you don't know if she's saying, listen, you're fat. You got to rein it in. or if was being really nice. She's got a busy office, high stress. There's no downtime during the day, and she was just being nice.
She regularly brings candy to the office. I do know that for a fact because I bought it. But you're not stealing my Halloween candy. I mean, this was already open. Usually she brings an unopened package of chocolates there to work.
Now, don't get me wrong. Your gut instinct is where I'm at. Because the fact is also, she didn't bring half of it to work.
No, all of it.
Right.
Didn't leave one damn piece.
Right. That's making a statement.
Not $100,000 bar. Not even a small little fun pack of M&Ms, David.
Exactly. Didn't leave just a little something behind for the two of you and look at you with those loving eyes and go, listen, honey, I mean, you and I both, we probably need to, Thanksgiving's a few weeks away. We probably didn't need all that candy, if you know what I mean. So I took the rest of it into work,
Unbelievable.
I don't get me wrong. It's an egregious violation. It is.
First real big disagreement in this marriage, and we're going on 10 years here pretty soon.
Well, I got to admit, if this is the most egregious thing that's been done in a decade, I kind of like your chances to go long term. I do. Okay. But, I could see where the silent treatment could last a few more days. I could.
Now, if I drop 20, she'll take all credit. Won't be anything I did. It'll all be because she took the candy away from me.
No, I don't think so. She can't. No. She can't take credit for that. No, she can take credit for you not gaining 5 between now and the weekend, but no. That's egregious, by the way. In fact, if we didn't already have a poll question, we're not one of those shows that puts up 2, 3, 17 poll questions in a show. If we didn't already have a poll question.
We've already got a poll question. That probably should be it. But, she thinks that was a clutch move. I don't think it was all that clutch.
Oh,
Felipe, what do you got for your clutch play of the day?
2-5 heading into yesterday's game. David Moulton demanded victory, and Jimmy Butler delivered.
Looks for himself or to draw foul. 6-second difference. Shot clock and game clock. Jimmy leans in, delivers. There you go. Jimmy Butler delivers. Miami up by 5. 9.5 seconds away from a breakthrough victory at home. A 23-point night for Butler. Saved his best for last.
Does he realize the World Series was played yesterday? Bryce Harper had a 2-run homer in the first. Schwarber a 2-run shot in the 5th.
I think he missed that. He was watching Golden State and Miami. I'll let it slide.
Too many home runs.
Right. Too many threes. 8th game of the regular season. Okay.
It was clutch, David. That's our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Remember, Seaside for those great Clutch Vodka watch parties with the Miami Dolphins. They're a legitimate contender now, David. Miller and Moulton. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN play of the day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs, presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs, powered by Clutch Vodka.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, Goose, you and Kyler Murray. Good to see.
To be totally honest, I really just didn't know. I was like, there were 5 home runs. It was just a blowout. It was a murder.
Yeah, but
Was I supposed to choose one?
well, you could make the case that the 2-run homer by Harper early on
That's
set
true.
the tone. But
That is true. You want to know something? I actually, and I'm not kidding, I'm not lying, I watched all 9 innings of that baseball game. It was on the big TV the whole time.
well,
He got TV too.
that bodes well for Fox if that's the case.
Yep.
If you're not.
I was a young
Alone.
baseball fan last night.
This would be one of the 5 worst teams to win the World Series in the last, 70 years. It'd be fun, though.
Yeah, but their best player is playing like the best player in the world right now.
Yeah, he's having an epic playoff. Good for him. Always liked him.
Unbelievable playoff run.
Yankees wouldn't spend the money for him. Yep.
They had a chance to.
He was available. Left-hand hitter, pull hitter, their ballpark. Nope, weren't interested.
Odds that Judge goes to Philly.
Oh, non-existent.
No?
No. He'll either be a Yankee or a Giant or a Dodger, something crazy. But no.
Also, like, where do you play him?
Right. I mean, you got to move back to right field.
You have like how many DH types? Like Harper's defense is like just okay.
Well, the only reason he's not playing on the field is because he needs Tommy John.
Castellanos can't really field very well. I mean, like,
and Schwarber can't either.
Right? Yeah, but at some point, like this all DH lineup is a
slow
really
pitch
a problem.
softball.
Yeah, exactly.
You know it's not going your way when Altuve hits a little liner there and Castellanos makes another diving play. It's like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, all right, we're screwed. We are rooting for Philly in this, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I still think Houston's going to win in 6, but I'm rooting for Philly.
I mean, getting that first one's nice, but obviously, like, you have to beat Verlander. And I mean, I know the whole like he sucks in the playoffs idea, but I mean,
well, it's funny he doesn't suck in the playoffs. He just sucks in the World Series.
Yeah,
up to the World Series, he's a Hall of Fame pitcher. Then in the World Series, he sucks. It's the strangest thing.
I saw a stat that was like, if Madison Bumgarner pitched in the World Series tomorrow and gave up 46 home runs, he'd still have a better World Series ERA than Justin Verlander.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I saw that last week too. So how you doing?
Doing well. Doing real well. Playoff rankings kind of interesting. I don't know. I think they're all fake, to be honest.
I don't even.
I know it's conspiracy theory, but I mean, like,
no, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
Yeah. You guys doing well? Who do we have this week in NFL?
Ravens Saints Monday night in New Orleans.
Okay. Be interesting.
Yeah.
That's an easy trip for you, though, at least.
Oh, it's awesome. I'll sleep in both days. Like my flight Sunday from Atlanta to New Orleans is until 2 in the afternoon. It's awesome.
You just miss football. That's the only.
Yeah. Hopefully the Delta will have a TV. It's hit or miss. Sometimes they have a TV with TV, and sometimes they just have a TV, for movies.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the plane.
15 seconds.
It's better in United and American, though. They don't even have TVs.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, and on Wednesdays at this time, that means Bud Elliott. He's got a lot of W-2 forms, folks. I don't know what to tell you. CBS Sports HQ, 24/7 Sports, the Cover 3 podcast, the Nolecast. You can follow him on Twitter at Bud Elliott, the number 3. Bud Elliott 3. Bud, how are you?
Doing well, guys. Doing well. It's feel the weather changing just ever so slightly, and maybe some football weather on the way.
What? Getting hotter? Becoming summer?
I took the recycling out this morning. I was like, okay, maybe I'm just wish casting this, right? I
think so.
Yeah,
I think you're delusional, kind of like the college football playoff committee. I got to be honest.
That's a good segue. I can just make it up as I go.
Is it worse than the coaches poll where the SID does it? I mean, this thing is almost predictable of what they're going to pull off because they're just, let's just see, we're going to put Alabama and go from there, right?
I really think that the final committee rankings, the ones that actually determine who goes to the playoff, are pretty good, and they are pretty justifiable normally. Like, there's been a couple years where you could have kind of bickered a little bit about 4 and 5, but they generally do a fairly good job of that. But here's the thing. I don't think your first 7 weeks of this are anything but a ratings driver for a made-up TV product. There is no logical reason why we need to rank teams every single week when we're just like, the college basketball tournament does not do this. They don't need to. We really don't need to. The only reason we do this is for TV ratings and TV money. And look, we were on our live stream on Cover 3 last night discussing this. So yes, we get ratings off it too, but it's just very convenient that the network that owns the playoff ranking show also happens to be carrying the game between LSU and Alabama on Saturday night. And lo and behold, that's a top 10 matchup now, guys. Very, very convenient. LSU into the top 10.
That part of it was interesting. TCU, if we're going to take this remotely seriously before we move on to a lot of other things, TCU is 7. All right. Now, based on their quote unquote resume, you may watch them and think, that's about right. But I believe they've beaten more ranked teams than anybody else who's in the top 10, right? So
yeah.
Should they, if you were in that room yesterday voting, would you have voted them 7? Because there are those that are saying that, quite frankly, they should be in the top 4 based on their resume.
Yeah, I would have had them probably 5 or 4. I agree with you on that. However, they don't show the top 6 until after the commercial break. And it's nice to hold Alabama and make people wait for another commercial break to see where the Tide are going to be slotted. No, like I'm serious. I don't take this stuff seriously at all. But if we want to pretend that they took it seriously, like I'll answer the question. I'm not trying to blow it off. I think the committee does a very poor job of evaluating strength of schedule, and they look at this arbitrary line drawn of top 25, and it's ingrained with us as a sport, but it's really just an arbitrary kind of round number. And what's the difference between your 20th team and your 35th team? Maybe a field goal. If you look at any kind of Vegas power rating, there's not a big difference there. So I think they reverse engineer this. There's no reason to rank 25 teams for a 4-team playoff.
No,
they basically just rank teams, let's say 10 to 25, in order to justify whatever the heck they want to do with their top 6 or 7. It's entirely just kind of reverse engineered here, if you guys see what I'm saying. So they have Texas in order to give Alabama a good win. Texas is a 3-loss team. Their best win is probably what? When they beat Oklahoma without Dylan Gabriel? And I mean, I have a hard time taking this thing seriously on a week-to-week basis, especially because they don't follow their own precedent and reasoning from week to week. They literally go back on it. And you're like, wait a second, last week you said that. And he's like, well, this week the room felt more strongly about this metric. Okay, so what you did last week, you could tell me you start from scratch, but your reasoning can't start from scratch every week. That needs to be consistent, the lens, through which you view this stuff.
Right. And I'm with you. It's a TV product, and they can do what they want. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter. We're going to figure this all out on the field, and it'll start this week with unbelievable games. Before we get to the unbelievable games, let's get to Noles and Canes. You pay a lot of attention to Florida State. They're a big favorite. How good are the Noles?
I think they're a pretty good team. I think they are, when they're healthy, and right now they look fairly healthy. I think they're probably like a top 25-ish team. And if you look at like our cover 3 locks, I was against them throughout almost the entire month of October because I did not feel they were healthy. But now they're getting healthier. I think the bye week really helped them. They got Fabian Lovett back on the defensive interior. That's one of their best players. He has a chance to be an NFL draft pick at defensive tackle. Jared Verse, who kind of destroyed LSU in that opening game, appears to be as healthy as he has been since the beginning of the season. And like Jordan Travis on Pro Football Focus is a top 5 quarterback in the country. Now, I don't know if I buy that, but if you told me he's like top 20, I can get with that. So they look fairly good. And this is an important game that they need to go down there and win because Miami looks kind of a bit in free fall. Now, they pulled the win out at Virginia, scoring 14 points in 4 overtimes, which is a little bit concerning offensively. Miami still has a very good defense, though. So they're going to need to take care of the football, and they can't allow easy scores to that Miami offense. You got to go snuff them out.
Is it fair to say Florida State's 5-3, 4 games left? They're easily going to be favored in 3 of them. The Syracuse game, probably a small dog at present time. Anything less than 8-4, unacceptable. And to be honest, Bud, I mean, if you're looking at it, Syracuse heading one way, Florida State the other. I mean, I'd almost be a little disappointed as an Noles fan if we go 8-4, to be honest.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Well, I don't know that 8-4 would be a disappointment, but I do think that if you go 7-5, I think you'd have a lot of FSU fans that are very disappointed. I know FanDuel right now has the Noles as like a 4-point favorite over the Gators in Tallahassee. We'll have to see. I want to see how Florida looks this weekend going to Texas A&M. Right, they just kicked off Brenton Cox, who was one of their best defenders, although kind of problematic, I guess. Syracuse, Dino Babers said that that Schrader is progressing nicely. So they're a dog right now to Pitt on the road, and we'll see how good they look. They seem to be losing players. The 2 weeks in a row, teams have run on Syracuse very effectively. So, yeah, I think if you don't go at least 8-4, it's a pretty big disappointment, and this team will have a chance to finish ranked.
When you look at Florida and A&M, I mean, the Gators are another team there. They're trying to figure out a way to just get to the finish line right now, and A&M's crumbling. But to me, this is a game that the Gators should and have to win.
Yeah, so they're slight dogs. I understand it because it's a road game, Kyle Field, all that kind of stuff. Florida's defense is not good, but guys, A&M's run defense is quite poor. Ole Miss ran for 400 yards on those dudes, and I think Florida's run game is about as good as Ole Miss's, right? And that I think Florida can stay in its comfort zone in this ball game because Florida does not want to be a drop back passing team with Richardson and the receivers that they have, but they can potentially push around an A&M front that's been unimpressive so far this year against the run.
4 matchups involving ranked teams this week. The 2 big ones are both SEC games. We'll get to them in a moment. But speaking of the SEC, the Auburn head coaching situation. Do you think, to us, the natural candidate, I know Hugh Freeze is getting a lot of talk, but to us, it seems pretty natural you call Lane. What are you hearing?
Yeah, I think Lane will absolutely be a call. And I think you guys are so on point of dismissing the Freeze stuff here. Keep in mind, who was the AD when Mullen's staff was putting together stuff to narc on Freeze when he was at Ole Miss? John Cohen. Do you think those guys have a chummy relationship? Do you think he's going to hire Hugh Freeze? Because I don't. Like, that's the new Auburn AD. You have to – people and relationships do matter in this business, right? It's not just fantasy football. So I think Lane, given that Cohen has a history of outside the box hires that have worked out, getting Leach to the SEC would be one of them. I think Lane could do a really good job there. He has to surround himself with good recruiters. Guys, I would also call Mark Stoops. And I'd say, hey, Mark, how serious were you this summer when you were kind of ticked off about this basketball school stuff? Kentucky's contract says that they love when you win 7-8 games a year. Do you feel like they still love that? Are they starting to get into Glenn Mason territory here where they don't appreciate how tough it is to win 7 or 8 games in the SEC at Kentucky? Do you want a shot to go for it? Because you can win at Auburn unlike you can win at Kentucky, right? And eventually when the SEC does away with divisions, Kentucky's schedule is going to get a lot harder, So I'd give Mark Stoops a call. I'm sure they'll talk to Deion, especially given Deion's Under Armour connections and the Cam Newton connection to Auburn. And I think you at least need to interview him just to see what he has to say, although I'm a little skeptical on that. I think those would all make sense. And I think you got to talk to Matt Rule. Matt Rule is great with boosters. And Auburn is a culture where I think you need to have a decent relationship with boosters.
There is no doubt. I don't know how long your relationship with the boosters can last at Auburn. I mean, that's a week-to-week proposition, but it's certainly at least coming in is important. All right, let's get to the big games. Let's start with the big one, Georgia and Tennessee. Georgia loses the linebacker Smith, we find out yesterday, for the season. How impactful is that this week for Georgia? And defensively, do they have something different for Tennessee than anybody else has?
I think they have a better secondary than anybody that Tennessee has played so far, except for maybe Pitt. And Pitt did a pretty good job against Tennessee's offense. I think losing Smith is a big deal because Georgia's pass rush this year was already a bit lacking. We'll see how their interior pass rush is. They just got their best guy back on the interior, but what's his conditioning like, right? He didn't play a ton of snaps against the Gators. My question is, teams, when the game has not been out of reach, have actually ran the ball pretty okay against Tennessee. Tennessee has this they're top 10 in run defense. Florida had a very high success rate running the football against them. Kentucky, until it was out of reach, actually stayed ahead of the chains decently with the run game. So I'm curious, if Georgia can just pound them and play this as a slow kind of, pressure cooker type game, crock pot them, if you will. That could be something to watch here.
Well, and I think that Tennessee's run defense numbers are what they are because they've scored 3 touchdowns the first 3 times they've had the ball. So you're spending the last 3 quarters throwing and you abandon the run. And at the end you go, wow, they held them to 73 yards rushing. Well, yeah, they ran it 4 times in the second half. I mean, yeah, that's why. So I think those numbers are a little skewed. But the one thing I will say, Alabama came into the matchup with Tennessee with a better pass rush than Georgia comes into the game with, and Tennessee blocked Bama, and they blocked them with 5. They didn't keep anybody in either. And so if I tell you Georgia's going to get very little pressure against Hooker in this game, tell me how you think it ends.
If Georgia gets very little pressure, then I think Tennessee will have a pretty good shot to win. Although I'm curious if Georgia basically just says, hey, what really killed Alabama? The freebies, the wide open shots down the field. If we eliminate those, if we play good defense in the red zone, can we make Tennessee kick some field goals? Can we finally make them make some mistakes? Honestly, on a down-to-down basis, Kentucky did an okay job against them. And then Kentucky allowed 2 freebies in the first 20 minutes. And boom, all of a sudden you're in a hole. The game script is not favorable anymore. Georgia may just be disciplined enough on defense to not allow as many freebies and make Tennessee execute in the red zone. But if Georgia can't get pass rush, I agree with you guys. Tennessee will have a shot to win the ballgame.
Alabama and LSU. How do you see this one, bud?
I kind of don't like the matchup for LSU's offense, which has been very much improved in recent weeks. But if you think about this, Ole Miss's defense might just be cratering. I mean, A&M moved it on them really well. Florida's defense probably is cratering. So those are 2 teams that LSU has just roasted recently. But I go back to that opening week matchup, and I know that Florida State thought that LSU's tackles were vulnerable, and they took advantage. And that is a place that Alabama is still very good on the edges and with that pass rush. And you can't really run it on Bama all that well. So I'm kind of curious if the Tide, if they can make Jaden Daniels make some mistakes, drop 7, get pressure with 4. But LSU's defense, I think, is really coming around. I think they're well coached. I think Matt House does a great job there. This could be a little bit lower scoring than people think, I believe.
I'll say this: Will Anderson has to show up. Will Anderson, outside of the Texas A&M game when he was going against freshman tackles, Will Anderson's been largely invisible. All right, we got about a minute left. You're pretty good at giving us, hey, bet this team you're going to win. So give us a winner.
All right. I actually think Pitt is a decent bounce back team this week. They are somebody who wants to be stubborn and do some silly stuff, but they're laying a field goal hosting Syracuse. I think that's worth a look because Syracuse's run defense has really kind of cratered. I'm sure Narduzzi will want to just run Abaconda 40 times in this game if he can, and they don't want to lose another ball game. So I think Pitt at home is actually worth a look here.
Noel's going to win?
Yeah, I think so. Van Dyke might not even play for Miami, so Garcia has been more of a downgrade than I expected him to be.
He's Bud Elliott, CBS Sports HQ, 24/7 Sports, the Cover 3 podcast, the Nolecast. You can follow him on Twitter, Bud Elliott 3. Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's. Bud Elliott, the number 3. Bud, as always, and by the way, walk outside now and tell us if it's fall, okay? It's like 80.
All right, we'll do.
Bud Elliott.
See you guys.
See you, bud.
Where was he yesterday?
Where was he this morning? I walked out and the humidity slapped me in the face and said, hey, we're not done yet.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Love Bud Elliott just telling me exactly what I'm going to walk into on Saturday night. Just a disappointing.
You didn't need Bud Elliott for that.
Oh, yeah, I know. But, Van Dyke might not even play, And this Garcia kid's just even worse.
He's terrible.
I know. Canes are terrible. Holy. Oh, my. Ooh.
Hit the net, dude.
Vasilevsky does that on a regular basis.
He shot it into his pad. I'm not giving him any credit for that save.
Yeah. Oh, get that. Oh.
That was a sequence of some of the worst basketball I've ever seen.
What, a layup that was blocked?
That sequence of a layup that was blocked. It started off with a bad turnover, a layup that was blocked, a missed layup, back to another turnover, finally a made layup that no one defended on. It was just horrific. I didn't watch the fourth quarter because I went to bed and watched the baseball game in bed, and I've only got one TV there. So I didn't see the comeback. I was quite surprised when that happened.
Yeah. I tuned out of the game for a little bit. Noticed we come back and, hey, Nick Castellanos.
I wonder which home run's going to be number one play of the day. I bet you it's not Jimmy Butler.
Oh, come on. Yeah, Jimmy won't be here. Oh, no. Oh, that was pretty sweet, though. I remember seeing that. I've watched Steph Curry play basketball in person twice.
Oh, hold on. We have tickets for tomorrow night's Magic Warriors game in Orlando. Okay.
You got to call the guest, Felipe.
You're right.
How would we give those away? I know.
I would have.
Tomorrow night?
In Orlando.
I mean, there's people that listen to the show.
There's a way to do it on the text line, but I don't know how to pull it off this quickly. I'd have to figure this all out right now, and I don't.
No. I was just talking. Like, how would we do it? I don't even
on
know
the
how
text
we
line
do
via
it.
the contest, but I don't know how to do it.
Gotcha.
I'm calling him now. $20 seconds. I'm dialing him. 10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the final hour of Miller and Moulton in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice. We are halfway home in the 239, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Seth Everett to join us coming up in a little over 30 minutes time. It's a pleasure to welcome back the very talented Jeff Cameron, host of The Jeff Cameron Show on warchant.com and 93.3 in Tallahassee. He also does work for SiriusXM. You can follow him on Twitter, the letter J Cameron Show, J Cameron Show. Jeff, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. How are you?
Back with you.
Great to have you.
What's going on?
Well, we're talking Florida State and Miami, and who'd have thunk it 2 months ago that the Noles are clear favorites going to Miami. What in the wide world of sports is going on here? But how do you feel about this Noles team that you see up close?
Well, they're better, guys. They're a lot better than they were. I don't think there's any question. Even in the midst of the 3-game losing streak prior to this last win against Georgia Tech, you could still see signs that Florida State had taken a big step forward. Maybe not as quickly as everybody that roots for Florida State would have liked, but there are signs everywhere that they are moving in the right direction, as I say. But they got a real opportunity here is really the way I think that Florida State fans are looking at it. If they are to go down and win this game as favorites, it'd be the second year in a row for Mike Norvell that we've gotten a win against Miami. And if you look at the big three teams in the state, you guys know this, they're all in flux and sort of transition. And it's a chance for Florida State to get a leg up on the other two first-year coaches in the state. So I think in terms of recruiting and then also maybe proof of concept, Florida State is in a pretty good position if they can take care of business and execute in these next 4 games. Really, you can argue they ought to win 3 of the 4, if not all 4.
You know, I don't know if anybody thought at the beginning of the season that Florida State would have the best quarterback of the big 3 at this point, but they certainly do. Travis has played really well and continues to improve, doesn't he?
Yeah, he took a huge step forward. You know, guys, last year he was a player that was always electrifying with his legs, and he could make you miss in a phone booth and all that stuff, but he wasn't a great passer. And I would talk to my audience on a daily basis about how much better he had to get throwing down the seam, how much more anticipatory he had to get. And you know, I didn't suspect that he would take this kind of a leap forward, but he has, and it's a credit to him. He cares deeply. He works extremely hard. And you could tell early in the season, you know, really, you go back to that LSU game, immediately you could see he was a more comfortable passer from the pocket. And he's gotten better as the season's gone on. His pre-snap ability to read a defense and know where to go with the football is immensely improved. He still has areas in which he can improve, but certainly work ethic is not going to be the problem for him. So he's hard to doubt right now, and he continues to get better and better and better.
With the way this season is going, have we moved past the Mike Norvell question? Or does he have to have a solid November? Like if they go 2-2 this month, yeah, I know it's a winning record in a bowl game, but I have a feeling that the people who are going to be calling and texting into your show are going to be like, yeah, I don't think this guy's the answer. But if they, you know, they're going to be favored in 3 of the 4, even if they just win the games they're favored in. That'd be 8-4 going to a bowl, wins over LSU, Miami, and Florida. That would move us past the Mike Norvell question, right?
I agree. I think that's true. I think, listen, losses happen for a reason, and they elicit emotions. So whenever it is that Florida State, say, drops that next game, whether that's to Syracuse or whomever, fans will be angry, and they will respond angrily about the loss. But if they take a step back and look at the big picture, I think if they're being honest with themselves, if you told them Mike Norvell and Florida State are going to go from 5-7 to 8-4, and they're going to have some signature moments in there, and at no point are they going to embarrass themselves and get blown out by Clemson or anybody else, then they would take it. They would see that that is a huge step forward and that there was real progress. I do think, though, guys, if for some reason they do go 2-2 over these next 4 and they're 7-5, well, then there's a bad loss in there. And some of the things that have frustrated the fan base in terms of growth, I think that would kind of be brought up with great frequency, and the uncertainties around Mike would still persist. It's a razor's edge.
You know, Jeff, this year, a little bit early, and especially last year, they were thin. When injuries started happening, they got pushed around by teams. I actually look at a situation like how Miami is right now, who's a little bit banged up as well. I could actually see Florida State leaning on a few teams, dominating the line of scrimmage, and that's not something we've seen. To me, it's not just if they can get to 8, it's how they get to 8. And I can see them leaning on Miami a little bit more this week than I've seen them be able to do against teams that, even though they're a 7-point favorite, that are considered equals, if you know what I mean.
Without question, and it is the biggest difference. I think it's a great observation. Last year, Florida State, if they lost a starter, let alone two in a segment group, they were done. The players that were replacing those that were injured were minus players. They were not able to contribute anywhere near to the same level of efficiency as the starters. And, this is a game we all know in which most teams in any given year are beset by injuries of some kind or another, and you have to be able to withstand those with suitable replacements. Florida State has already suffered a ton of injuries on the offensive line, but this offseason, they went out and got a bunch of guys for that very reason in the transfer portal, and they've already lost three of them, two of them before the season even began, one of them in the opening game. If you told anybody covering this team, and certainly anybody rooting for this team, hey, you're going to lose three guys that the team is expecting to start on the offensive line or play significant minutes, and they're going to be fine. They're going to have enough depth to withstand that. And in fact, not only are they going to have enough depth to withstand that, they'll probably be able to bully some people and run the football against them in the second half. I think people would be stunned. So there's no doubt that they've raised the floor of talent, but they've also raised the depth.
He's Jeff Cameron, host of The Jeff Cameron Show. You can get it at warchant.com and also on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee. You can follow him on Twitter, the letter J, Cameron Show, J, Cameron Show. Big picture, are the Noles in good shape going forward, or is this final month also really key to the program? In Miami, it doesn't appear as if it matters if they're winning or losing. Manny's picking up top recruits. Big picture, how is the program? Because, Jeff, I've been arguing that Norvell is repairing the program and it's better than people think it is. Am I right?
Yeah. I'll tell you things that have been definitively done and some areas in which more work has to be done. But he has flipped the culture completely. Those kids play hard as hell for each other and for him. That locker room is together. Even in the midst of a 3-game losing streak, they showed that. The willingness to work and to do the things that Mike has asked of them, it's on display all the time. So they've got a great culture. He does have to take a step forward, I believe, in recruiting. Now, how do you do that? Well, proof of concept, as I said earlier. You go out and go 9-3 or 8-4 and win a bowl. Listen, that's proof that what you're doing and implementing and what you believe, whatever the vision is that you lay bare, that is working. I do think they have to get better in some areas in recruiting. I do think they're also on the right track, and they have fixed the culture big time. Florida State fans, and certainly these players, believe in Mike Norvell's vision. And I think the consistency with which he's shown that, even in the face of adversity, even during some tough times, I think sold those guys that, look, this wasn't a short-term fix. This was a long-term rebuild, and he was going to stick by those guiding principles. He's really remained unwavering. I go back to when they lost to Jacksonville State, a humiliating loss a year ago for Florida State, probably the worst in program's history. And Mike never changed. He never shifted gears. He never changed message. He stayed on point and said, look, I'm embarrassed by it. I'm sorry we lost that game. It's not a good look. Went on to talk about the things we're going to fix. But he also never came off that message of how he thought this should be built. And I think that went a long way with his players.
I think it goes a long way with everybody, Jeff. I mean, fans can take it if they're being told a little bit of truth. And if the truth that they're being told is being repaired, because that seems to me the message has been there, but the things that he said he needed to fix, he's been fixing. So at least it seems believable.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I think every coach can win a press conference and tell you the way that they're going to go about the process of flipping a culture and the results on the field. But not every coach, I think, on down the road while implementing those things gets hit as hard as Mike did by any number of things, whether it's the pandemic in the midst of a rebuild, and then now you can't visit recruits and all of these problems that you have where initially as a new coach, you have the new car smell to sell. He never really got that. And then they stick to whatever those principles were that they laid out in that press conference. Most of them don't. I think you see guys panic. I think you see guys take shortcuts. Mike didn't do that, and I give him credit for it. Look, is he a perfect coach? Am I trying to say that he's the best coach in the country? No, he makes mistakes, and we talk about those things on a regular basis. But I think he is a guy that believes in what he's teaching and what he's doing, and I think that comes across to players. And so, yeah, when you see things start to work, when you see that vision laid bare and it's successful, I think it's much easier to fall back on those tenets and say, yeah, this is working. He said it would, and it is. I believe in it, and I think fans do.
All right, Jeff, you're going to have 30 seconds. Miami, Florida State. It looks like Florida State has a solid offense and a solid defense, and Miami has a solid defense and no offense. Is the game that simple?
Yes, and if they don't start Tyler Van Dyke, this game could get ugly, and Florida State will win big.
How about that? Jeff Cameron, 93.3 in Tallahassee, warchant.com. Follow him on Twitter, the letter J, Cameron Show. J. Cameron Show. Jeff, thanks for doing this. Safe travels.
Yeah, be good, boys. It's always great to talk to you. Take care.
Jeff Cameron, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
Calling for it to get ugly if it's the backup quarterback for Miami.
And
well, I think he watched that thriller against Virginia last week.
All indications are it's going to be the backup, too. Could even see some of the third stringer. Oof. Miami needs to be +2 in turnovers if they're going to win. I think this is a game in which it's on Florida State. Or can they lose this game? And they're capable of it.
But I literally think they can lean on some teams. Miami's one of them. I think they can push them around a little bit. Miami's been beat up. We'll see how the Canes defense holds up against the Knowles. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
This whole 100,000-yard thing with Brady, first off, that's counting playoffs. All right, but if you're just counting regular season, and when they keep track of stats, they don't add. What's interesting is with like Belichick and Shula and them, they add wins, playoff wins count in your overall win total, but playoff yards do not count in your official final stat. So Brady's at just under 87,000 yards. He's going to, at the end of this year, be between 89 and 90. So this whole 100,000 thing is kind of a made-up thing. That's not going to be his official final stat. And I don't think anybody cares. In the NFL, we don't care about stats, except with your damn fantasy teams.
Yeah, but we only care about those for the week.
Right.
I had my best daily fantasy numbers of the year and didn't come close to winning money. It was such a big fantasy week.
Really? That's interesting.
I had Derrick Henry give me 35 and I still lost by 40.
That's unbelievable. You have Derrick Henry and lose.
It's easy.
King Henry.
It's easy right now. That last week was a big point week. That was the first really big point week in fantasy this year.
Big week for running backs.
Kamara had over 40. CMC had a big number.
Sure.
I mean, there were some, even you could have had the Lions back up there with Williams, and I think he scored you 2 touchdowns. So,
and that Niners game was fun.
Hops, he's not going to get to 100,000 if he plays 2 more years. He's not going to throw for over 5,000 yards each of the next 2 years.
It still blows my mind that the Niners have an additional home game in SoFi Stadium every year.
Well, hey, man, you should go to Chargers games.
Like every single one.
The Raiders have a home game there.
Yeah, the Chiefs have a home game. The Broncos.
Everybody in the division has a home game there if they want it.
The Broncos
crowd Arizona would have a home game there if they wanted it.
The Broncos crowd was 50-50, and that's with a bad Broncos team that Broncos fans were down on. If the Broncos were 5-2 when they played, it would have been 75-25.
It's not even a home. It's like a hotel.
It's why, I've had people say to me that certain coaches, they don't want any part of the Chargers job for that reason. They're like, well, you don't have a home field.
You don't have a fan base.
Well, they did, but they left it.
San Diego.
Well, but when the Eagles played there, didn't they play at the soccer stadium? Everybody had a home game at the soccer stadium. That was unbelievable.
Well, when the Chargers played there for a little bit?
Yeah, it was hard to point out the Chargers fans when they played at the soccer stadium.
Did you work a game at that stadium?
No. Never got there.
No, they never put them on TV.
Yeah.
In a primetime event. Well, one, it was Fox too, so.
But yeah, we never did a Thursday night game in the soccer stadium.
They weren't going to do that.
Hell,
it's too embarrassing.
Bad look, yeah. I'm telling you, if Messi comes to Inter Miami, they might have to play every game at Hard Rock Stadium.
That'd be great. Listen, when the New York Cosmos in the mid to late 70s, when they had Pele and Canalia and Beckenbauer, and they had an international, superstar team in a very international city, they played their games at Giant Stadium and sold it out.
That's so cool. Yeah, Messi.
They're not moving from a stadium that they own to one that they don't.
Right. Because
they're not playing games where they have to rent versus a building that they own. It doesn't work that way. Okay.
Well,
no.
They're in the process of, again, they haven't broken ground yet, I don't think. But they're going to build a new stadium near the Miami International Airport. We're coming back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Seth Everett in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Phillies up 2-1 on the Stros. They beat them 7-0. 5 of their 7 hits were homers. Mark, you can't start doing the Open Championship thing, with the claret jug where you start engraving, because we still don't know if the Phillies are going to win. But if the Phillies do win, like if they're up 3-1 or whatever, and they got a big lead in the 7th, I mean, you can start engraving Bryce Harper on that on that MVP trophy.
There is no doubt on that one, David. Hitting almost 500 in the postseason right now.
And yes, this is a bigger thing for me than you, but I think this could also be what gets him in the Hall of Fame. You know, he's gonna, because 500 home runs is not what it used to be. So he's going to play a long time and he's going to get those 500 homers. But, we've got guys who are going to hit 500 homers who aren't going to get in the Hall of Fame.
Which ones that didn't juice?
Well, I mean, but
I'm just asking you a question.
Going forward, I think, like Fred McGriff in his day, he had 493. They didn't put him in. I don't think we're going to view 508 career home runs going forward the way we've judged it up until now.
Well, it all depends on what their WAR was, David.
What was their slugging percentage?
No, Mark's right. That's the stat. That's now the stat when they're debating Hall of Famers. But if you were a World Series MVP, they say, in 2022, Bryce Harper put an 87-win Phillies team on his back and said, follow me, all right, a la Reggie and others, all right, that's hey, man, Bryce Harper's a Hall of Famer. Let's just put him in. Let's move on to the next guy. I think this could be a historic 3 weeks for Bryce Harper.
Interesting. I never had thought of it in Hall of Fame perspective. I'm surprised that you believe 500 home runs won't matter. I still think that will be the line of demarcation, particularly for guys that they believe are juice free. I think it's the one thing that they're trying to hold out on. So
I just think if they're reducing the pitching, win total, that they may also raise the home run total. That 10%. If there is a 10%, you got to get to 550. And that we'll see. We'll see the guy who, gets to 500 and they decide whether or not he's a Hall of Famer or not. But the Phillies are up 2-1 and they're sending their number 2 starter to the hill tonight, Aaron Nola, against the Astros number 4 starter, Christian Javier. So Phillies unbeaten at home in the playoffs, 6-0. And let's see if they can keep on keeping on. College football playoff committee, Mark. Tennessee 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, Clemson 4. That would be the playoff if the playoffs started this weekend. Tennessee against Clemson, Ohio State, Georgia.
Be very interested to see Georgia wins a really close one at Tennessee. Where are they going to put the Vols next week? That's probably the thing I shouldn't say don't care. I care, but you know what I mean. I'm trying to look forward to see how the committee can put Alabama ahead of Tennessee after Georgia beats Tennessee. That's the things that I'm looking forward to on this.
So on PTI yesterday, I was on the plane, and Kornheiser asked Wilbon, which is hysterical, like Michael Wilbon covers college football, asked him basically bigger game for which team, Tennessee or Georgia? And I would argue Georgia for this reason. I think there's a path, not wide, but there's a path. Tennessee can lose and make the playoff. Georgia wins. They go to the SEC championship game. They win out. Tennessee sitting home at 11-1. They've got a win against Alabama, and let's just say they got a 7-point loss at Georgia. All right. Tennessee maybe sneaks in as the 4. I think Georgia loses, Mark. They're done.
Right. The only path would be to lose an epic game, and then Tennessee's got to beat Alabama a second time. And I still don't know if at that point it would be enough. Because what would Georgia's signature win be?
Well, right now, knock on wood, what's really helping them is Oregon has not lost, right, since they got pounded by Georgia. I mean, isn't Oregon right?
Yes.
In the top 10? Are they like 9 or 11 or something like that? I mean, they're right there. So that's coming back to really help Georgia out. No one else, though. Their cross game is Auburn. They're terrible. Florida's not ranked. Kentucky's no longer ranked. So all those other wins, they ain't doing anything for them. But I mean, in theory, they could have wins against Tennessee and, hey, Oregon win the Pac-12, for goodness sakes. And they pounded them. So I don't know about you, but I think there's a path for Tennessee with a loss. I don't think there's one with Georgia.
They basically told TCU that there's no path for them, even if they win the rest of their games. No, I mean, they certainly looked at TCU, patted them on the head, and said, I suggest you win all your games and hope for a lot of teams to lose, and then maybe, just maybe, we can sneak you in this sucker.
Imagine, though, if the playoffs started this weekend, Ohio State, Georgia. You think a few people would watch that? Big Ten SEC matchup? Think there'd be any interest in that game?
Just a little bit.
Just saying. NFL trade deadline came and went. Dolphins made 2 deals, including, you could argue, the biggest trade of the day. They were the only one to give up a first-round pick yesterday. They did so to get Bradley Chubb, a 26-year-old defensive end from Denver. They also picked up running back Jeff Wilson from the Niners for a 5th-round pick. Daniel loved his style with their blocking scheme and what have you, and obviously they got a surplus of backs now in San Francisco, so there you have it. It's our poll question. Okay, they went out and got Bradley Chubb. We're asking you, so does this lift the Dolphins into that legitimate contender area code? Because quite a few national talking heads yesterday, Mark, were saying this lifts the Dolphins into the Bills-Chiefs area code. So we're asking you, do you agree with that?
And Miller and Moulton both think it gets them, what's the backup area code in New York? You've got the 212, and then you've got that other area code.
Correct.
It's kind of like when 212 when they just put the new area code.
I think.
They're kind of they're in the city, but are they really?
It's like Jersey. 201 was the dominant area code for the northern 2/3 of the state, but in the bottom third of the state, it was 609.
Well, and I mean, anybody who's been in our listening audience and all the way up to Tampa knows that we were once 813. Then 941 came in. Then 239. I think that the Dolphins are kind of 941. They're somewhere between. They're right in the middle, if you know what I mean.
So the Dolphins are Charlotte County. Is that what you're saying? Are they Southwest Florida? Are they Tampa, St. Pete? I mean, what are they? They don't really count as a county in either, ratings book. I mean, so the Dolphins, you think this moved them from Sarasota, Bradenton to Charlotte County?
Something like that.
In Miami, it's 305 and then 786.
There you go.
I have a 786 number.
305 is the dominant one, though, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So if we were doing a show in Miami, we'd basically be like, listen, does this lift the Dolphins into the 305? Or, nah, they moved into a nicer neighborhood in the 786, but they're still in the 786.
And that's where I think they are right now. So we shall see.
This whole topic is blowing my mind, though. Am I dreaming? Am I on hallucinogens? The Dolphins contenders? What?
Can they win a playoff game?
Please.
That's where it starts.
Right. They have to win a playoff game, I believe. With the deals they've made and all the first-round picks they've given up and the acquisition of talent, got to win a playoff game this year.
We will switch gears from football to a little harder-hitting subject with Seth Everett. Next, we will talk some World Series as well. He's up on deck on the Florida Sports Network. FL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs, presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs, powered by Clutch Vodka.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Morning.
Hi, Seth.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I need a haircut.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's unruly.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and I love the area code talk. You know, when I moved to New York, I had to get a 646, and that was torture because I dreamt of a 718 or a 212.
Right. Exactly.
And now I'm in a 973, and I want to be in a 908. It's torture.
Okay, let's talk about this hair thing. Are you sure? I mean, and you did use, for the record, the word unruly.
Yeah, I just had to splash my head under a sink. And I'm dripping all over the place, you know.
That's true. You can see it. Looks like, yes, you can see it on your shoulders. You can see it underneath your chin there. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's a hectic week. I'm traveling and such. So don't, you know, got to squeeze it in when you can.
Are you the same person every time, hair place, or?
Yeah. I text my pal.
So you won't take a flyer on the road. Like I was engaged.
If I had to, but I'm like an every 6 to 8 week kind of person, so I can manage to be home. I don't travel like you. I travel, but I don't travel like you.
Barbershop or salon?
It's a hybrid. It's not one of those frou-frou salon places, but it's not a barbershop.
Is it like a Supercuts type,
no.
chain?
No, it's a place. No? It's a lady in her,
it's a salon,
small business.
Yeah.
So it's a salon.
So you're the only guy in there, basically, is what I'm saying.
No. There's some men.
I'm typically the only man when I go.
Well, it depends on the timing. Also, if you go like after 4:00. Then you get, your crowd. But, when I try to go like 11 in the morning.
Nothing but women there at 11.
Oh, there's nobody but crickets there at 11. There's nobody there.
That's when you go for the big jobs.
So I think that's why in my side gig, I want to be a shampooer at one of these salons.
Do you really put your hands in everybody's head?
No.
No.
I don't think I could handle washing Millie's hair. I think that might just freak me right out.
Millie. She wants to get a blowout.
She came here to touch it up.
Did you see who's in first place in the Metropolitan Division? Third in the league. Just third in the league.
I know, and you're only getting average goaltending still. I mean,
I know.
If you get good goaltending, it could happen.
They are fun to watch, man.
I told you when I saw them last week against the Wings, because the Wings are fun to watch too. They're going to be they're not a playoff team, but they're getting better. And I think the Devils are the same way. They were fast. They were a fun watch.
Well, we've won 4 in a row, and the Oilers have won 5 in a row. And tomorrow night, 9:00, I'll be in a Sheridan in Syracuse, New York.
1 minute.
Connor McDavid, had a slow night last night. He had 2 and 2.
Yeah. Jack had 2 points.
I love how Connor McDavid has 2 goals, 2 assists, and is not the first star of the game.
45 seconds.
What?
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Seth, thoughts on Black Adam?
He already gave this. You asked this last.
Very
Oh,
average.
no, Canada's asking.
Very average.
Yeah, I kind of expected that. Not a lot of good movies coming out anymore.
No, Black Panther.
Oh, that's true. That and any A24 movie that is made.
Oh.
All right, 15 seconds.
Ooh. That made sounds it shouldn't have made right there.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 22 minutes before the hour. It's our last segment in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice on this hump day. The bonus hour at the top of the hour for the 239, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. It's Seth Everett time, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, Tech Stream, his 3 terrific, very different podcasts. You can follow Seth on Twitter, Seth_Everett. You were listening at the end of last segment. We were doing the Dolphins talk about what area code they're in.
Yeah.
And you liked it because, let's face it, you've moved around in your career. It's ups and downs and what have you. And we all know about, some years we're living in a certain area code and some years we're living in a different area code.
Totally. I love area code talk. And, the Dolphins being in a 305, that's music to my ears. Back in the Vinny Testaverde, Daniel Stubbs, Benny and Brian Blades, Miami Hurricanes years, my cousin was a cheerleader for them. And that was one of the first times that I learned, that everybody has their own phone number. I was very young. And my cousin had a 305 area code. I always thought that was so bad, just really cool, like really awesome.
You were going to say badass, weren't you?
Oh, you can say that? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know, but I could just tell you wanted
I was about to say
it.
yeah, and
Right.
I hesitated.
He throws GD around on the show like nothing and won't say badass. Are you kidding me?
Well, I'm trying to work on that. I don't do it. I don't do it by choice. It just kind of slips.
Morale is very high in the Seth Everett household.
Very high.
Because A, his New Jersey Devils are on a roll that they haven't been in a while. And B, he's got to cover another World Series. Okay?
That's right. I'm going tonight.
So and you were at the rain out and the whole deal. So, this is how many for you, by the way?
We figured it out. It's 19 covered, 8 in person. Sometimes I did studio, so I wasn't always at the World Series. But this is my 8th World Series, and the last World Series that I was at was 2015. It had been a while because I was supposed to go in 2019 to the Nationals, and I had an event up in Syracuse. I couldn't be in 2 places at the same time. That's when I found out Rob Manfred listens to Sports with Friends. It was a great moment in my my baseball coverage. And
will you, by the way, if you're walking past Rob Manfred, will you talk to him?
Yeah. Well, that almost happened on Monday. He was getting ready to do MLB Network to tell them that they were going to wait and charge everybody another 90 minutes worth of food before they were going to call the game on Monday. And
look at that. Just another, just a little. So you're like Ali at the break. You just put a jab in his face as the referee separates you.
But I know that park, like the back of my hand. So I know how he was going from where he was to where he was headed. And I could have intercepted him and said hello and tried to rekindle our old friendship, but I chose against it. It was far. it was just, all the way at the other side of the park.
So what are your thoughts on this slow pitch softball team belting 5 home runs last night, taking the lead? Do you still think they have enough to get through this? Do you think tonight's the series? What are your impressions so far through 3 games?
Game 4s are always defining moments. What I'll say about this series, I thought the first game felt like an old school World Series classic. Like, it just felt great. It was exciting. It had a good flow to it. Game 2, I'll be honest, I had just watched like 15 hours of sports, starting with the Premier League in the morning, and I watched the Red Zone for 7 hours. I just was sportsed out for Game 2, but it was a typical win. Yesterday felt like everything I complain about. And I don't want to get into that. I'm well documented on what I see in the game. It just was home run after home run after home run after home run, and there was no rhyme or reason to it. These guys can hit home runs. Okay, we knew that. The statistic, they played 5 games, they've hit 15 home runs in their 5 home games in the postseason, and 15 home runs. I don't know. It just, last night just felt like baseball in 2022, whereas game 1 felt like magic. It felt like that series could be classic. And I'm curious. I'll be there tonight. I'm curious to see if you get that electricity, because the Astros know how to take a punch, and let's see how they fight back. They fought back on game 2. Let's see if they can do it again. 2-2, this thing's going 7. 3-1, it's over.
2 of the 5 homers last night registered on the Richter scale.
Yeah, they were massive shots. And crowd was – the crowd even at the rainout was insane. That Philly crowd is something else.
Well, and in the Southeast, there have been epic football games in which when certain plays have happened, they literally have then, had it registered 4.1.
Yeah,
and
they do that in Seattle too, right?
Yeah. And so, 2 of the homers last night, the stadium registered on the Richter scale in the area, just to give you an idea.
I heard a funny story about Joe Davis when I was at the park. Okay. Joe Davis's kids all got sick. Now, not COVID or anything, just, colds and stuff. And so when the LCS ended, he didn't go right home because he was like, I'm not going home getting sick and missing my first World Series. I thought that was a pretty smooth move.
I do think it's a smooth move. We're going to transition here, Seth, because we want your opinion on this. The Brooklyn Nets have made the news for all the wrong. Hey, Seth, you're up in that part of the world. You are a man of Jewish descent. I am just curious to throw it in underhand, the whole Kyrie Irving thing. Your thoughts, Seth?
Cut him. And people should not spend 1 penny on the Brooklyn, whatever the Nets call themselves these days. I wouldn't go into that building if he's on that team. First of all, there's no room. There's enough anti-Semitism across the world. Kyrie Irving's not breaking any ground, but you can talk about free speech all you want. The guy's an absolute buffoon. Him and his flat Earth dinosaur living. Or no, that was Carl Everett.
No. He was a flat Earth guy.
No, he's a flat Earth, but he's not a dinosaur.
No, he's not. No,
Carl Everett was a dinosaur. Right. I had that debate on my radio show on Carl Everett on the existence of dinosaurs. There's just no place for it. And, to denounce it, the Nets issued a statement, and Joe Tsai issued a statement, and Adam Silver issued a statement. Cut his ass.
Well,
get him out. He's a jerk.
I will say yesterday something I thought interesting happened. The NBA Players Association sent out a statement saying there is no place for this. I got to be honest, of all the groups that have released statements, I find that one to be the most interesting. They didn't mention him by name, but clearly that's why they released it, Seth. All the years that we've been following sports, all of us, do we ever remember an NFL, NHL, NBA, Players Association sending out a statement which is basically condemning one of their players?
Well, all I can say to that, and I thought about it, Twitter has become a disgusting app, and I'm not really sure what the future of that's going to be. And I thought about replying to that tweet. I saw the Players Association release that and say, okay, can you promise you won't appeal when the Nets cut him?
And that's a fair question, by the way.
Do that. He shouldn't be on the team. He's a buffoon. And, we laughed at him. And I was sympathetic to his anti-vaccine nonsense because I always say, athletes, the one thing they'll always regret at the end of their careers is they wish they had more time. And that's time he's wasting. Now he's crossed a line. And I was asked to be on a panel with the synagogue that I belong to. They were asking me to do a speech. I'm going to be in Syracuse, so I can't be part of it. About anti-Semitism and the growth of anti-Semitism that is in social media. There's something we talked about on TechStream. And if you go to Google Translate and type in the words to translate to Arabic, how to kill a Jew, and then copy whatever the Arabic translation is into Twitter, you will see hundreds of tweets of how to kill a Jew. It's anti-Semitism is at an all-time peak, and it's disgusting. And even if Kyrie Irving is not an anti-Semite, then why you're using your social media platform to promote negativity, and there's no need for it.
Seth, I get your point on cutting him, and I'm not even going to debate that, but shouldn't the league have done something? It shouldn't have Silver have stepped in, because if they cut him, another team could pick him up. Isn't this where Adam Silver should have stepped in?
Well, I look at that the way I looked at Roberto Osuna and Josh Hader when he had trouble with the tweets. The Roberto Osuna situation, if you remember, the Toronto Blue Jays owner came out and said he will never step foot in our uniform again. Right, different thing. It was a domestic abuse.
Right.
But
the Astros owner 30 years ago back in the day said the same thing about Julio Lugo. He said he'll never wear the uniform.
That's right. But then the Astros, this was the cheating scandal Astros in 2017, said, "Oh, we'll take Roberto Osuna, no problem. If another team wants to do it, that's fine." But that's the same thing where I talked about how does a Cleveland Brown fan embrace Deshaun Watson when he comes back? I've had that conversation. Fans can do what fans want to do, and I'm not a fan. I have no stake in this. All I know is Kyrie Irving has said and done enough. And the way he was so disrespectful to Nick Friedel, who's a friend of mine, who tried to confront him on it and get him to explain why he posted what he posted. And Kyrie Irving he's there's no remorse. There's no nonsense. He can say whatever he wants now. It's all hollow.
The one thing that if I was in the league offices, and we do this all the time, where Mark and I are
get
employed.
Adam Silver on Sports with
Well,
Friends.
but no, we're sitting in the back of the room, and we would just raise our hand and go, "Hey, this might be something you want to consider." What I wondered is they have taken action against owners. Hell, they've removed owning two of the teams from two of the owners for things that they basically said and done. That's the part here with Silver where I'm a little surprised, in which he hasn't, quite frankly, just suspended him indefinitely and brought him in and had a hearing in which it's like, listen, we wouldn't tolerate. I mean, imagine.
But that's where the union should get involved. Right. You're absolutely right.
If one of the owners was tweeting this stuff out and saying what he's saying, he would not own this team much longer. So I am a little surprised that the league hasn't stepped in quickly and just said, Kyrie, we can't we don't tolerate this from your boss. We can't tolerate this from you.
Well, when Joe Tsai wrote that tweet, all I said was, that's hollow. Do something about it. Cut him. You shouldn't be on the team.
Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. Your gut feeling about the World Series, by the way?
I picked Astros in 6. I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, well, it bodes well for the Phillies because all three of us picked the Astros in 6.
That's right. The Astros are a juggernaut, and if the Phillies beat them, it's a massive, Rocky Apollo Creed kind of situation. Good for them. I have no stake in it. I either thrilled for Dusty. I want Dusty to get a ring, or the people in Philadelphia I love, and I love that organization. I had a great experience with them. Them winning would be wonderful too.
Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice text stream. What do you got, Seth?
Sports with Friends, a mutual friend of ours, the great Jeff Perlman, on his new Bo Jackson book. Did you see this book? There's a lot in it that I didn't know about Bo Jackson.
Well, we were supposed to have him on each of the last 2 Wednesdays. He keeps pushing us back. Now he's on
really?
next Wednesday.
He'll do it. I teased him and I told him how big the appearance was and how he was great. He went to Alabama and did a book tour, and I thought it was really, really amazing for him. He spoke to Bo Jackson. He tells the story in the podcast about how he spoke to Bo Jackson and how Bo was very, very amicable with him when he declined to help. He didn't want to be a part of the book, but he didn't blow him off. He wasn't a jerk to him. That's pretty amazing, and it's a really fun podcast. I love having Jeff on. Jeff has now been on 3 times. The record is LaTroy Hawkins 6 and Eli Manning 5. Hall of Justice is on Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, a new mini-series on Disney+. It's phenomenal. And Text Stream is all about Twitter with Elon Musk taking over and how it's being ruined.
Very objective there.
Well, you only gave me 30 seconds.
He said Everett.
Before that, I suppose.
Right. I mean, for the record, you thought it was a cesspool last week too, right?
Oh yeah, but now
Okay.
it's just going to become a free for all.
All right. Well, it might have been last week too.
Hate
Sports
speech
with
is
Friends,
quadrupled.
Hall of Justice and text stream. He's Seth Everett. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. All the best, my friend.
See you guys. Go Devils.
Miller and Moulton. We thank you for listening. Port Charlotte, Venice, Tampa, St. Pete. The bonus hour in the 239 is next. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I got a question. So, is the reason why we are not allowed to play like actual songs for rejoins because we don't have the rights to them and Beasley does?
No, we could play them over the radio. It wouldn't bother us a bit. It would take us off of Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook.
Gotcha. Forgot about that. Man, that kind of sucks. Because I have a really good aux cord, if you know what I mean. A good DJ. In another world, I'm DJ Phil.
First off, who was it who said that the last segment was like listening to The View? No, it wasn't. Not at all. I mean, Seth got a little political about Twitter, but we didn't get political. We're talking about a legitimate issue. An athlete in a major sport, okay, saying and or doing things which certainly appears discriminatory. In 2022, that's legit.
I think it's
they're taking. Let me talk.
Sorry, my bad.
They're taking teams away from people for how they're treating other people.
And they've suspended players for anti-homophobic slurs.
Yeah.
Why is an anti-Semitic slur not treated the same way as a homophobic? Not an anti-homophobic, a homophobic slur, excuse me. Why are they not treating it the same way? It doesn't make any sense.
Last year, the Heat had a player who said something that was anti-Semitic. The Heat suspended him, forced him to undergo, sensitivity training. And by the way, they did it immediately too.
He waived him immediately. It was my understanding.
I thought they suspended him. They made him to go to sensitivity training, and then they waived him.
Or no, they suspended him, made him go to that, promptly traded him to the Thunder, and then the Thunder waived him.
Okay.
Yeah.
But to review once again, they suspended him and made him go to sensitivity training.
Immediately.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked this Kyrie Irving thing
at all.
We were going to talk it with David Sampson. We probably could have done there. We did it with Seth.
And not just because he's Jewish, but also because he lives in the area.
Right.
And it is very much, there are large parts of this country that don't have a big Jewish population. New York City is not one of those areas.
Also, Seth bashed Twitter and said that it's been, disgusting.
Right. Yeah. Well, but
it is.
No offense. I would like that our audience is smart enough to be able to draw their own conclusions and be able to hear somebody say something and go, "Oh, he's biased." Yeah. We think we're smart enough to be able to figure that out on your own. I mean, if you want a completely down the middle show, it's going to suck. It's called CNN.
That's down the middle?
Trying to be. They're trying to be. And they're losing people by the day.
$10 seconds.
And Logic Man, that's
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
well, we have had a lively 3 hours today. Let's try to have some fun in the bonus hour, shall we? Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. If you do miss any part of the show, I mean, we download these podcasts. I mean, Felipe has trouble staying awake sometimes and, paying attention, but he is pretty good about, that hour's done. Boom, he gets it up there. He's pretty good. Got 20 hours a week. I'd say he nails about 18 of them. Boom! Gets them right up there. fact, Felipe, you're so good at it, then the 1 or 2 hours a week that you don't get right up there, I usually we have a loyal listener, Mark Kathy. Don't know where Kathy lives. She may live in Southwest Florida for all I know. I think she does, now that I think about it. And she lets me know right away. Hey, where's the hour? I don't know, Kath. We'll get on it.
Quick question: does she do it via a tweet, or does she have your number?
She does not. Mark, I'm married. I try not to give my phone number out. Although
it's the same phone number you've had for nearly 15, 18 years, David. Everybody's given that number out but you.
I understand.
True story. People, because David and I both did sales. People would call the station that we worked at and want to speak to David Moulton. And it's really not any fault of the person that was answering the phone at the time. When it was saying, yeah, here's his cell number. You want it? And David's getting calls. Hey, who was the third pick in the 84 draft?
Right. And it was like 11:30 at night one time. Yeah, we're sitting out here. We're at Ale House and we're just trying to figure out who was the guy they took instead of Jordan? Sam Bowie. That's it. Thanks, man. Listen tomorrow. Right. So those calls did happen. They did. I have tried to not give my phone number out to women very often in the last 26 years, though. Okay, there needs to be a really good professional reason. Because, Mark, I don't know about you. All right, like, I'm fine with female friends. I'm fine. Most of the dominant people in my life have been women. Okay, so I'm very comfortable around women. And as friends, I'm very comfortable around them. Okay, some guys, no, I don't have female friends. I either date them or, I don't talk to them. Oh, okay. But my wife, not comfortable with me having female friends. And she's honest about it. Some, partners are fine with it. Like, oh, I don't care. You can go out with Jackie and her husband and whatever. Yeah, I don't care. My wife, not crazy about it.
That probably should have been the poll question. We should have gotten to this a lot. That's a hell of a lot better than are the Miami Dolphins legitimate contenders with Bradley Chubb. You want a real poll question. I may even add that right now.
Why don't we just save it till tomorrow? I mean, this is the bonus hour. I mean, there are 3 stations that don't even know we're doing this. Let's save it till tomorrow. Sorry,
David, there could be 4 stations that don't even know we're doing this.
Now, that funny. I know funny, that funny. So, and Mello going, I understand why she wouldn't be comfortable. I'm a big catch. No, actually not so much. And Mark has seen it in person. I am big with a certain demographic.
Well, and that was what I figured. I figured your easy explanation to your wife is, I don't know what to tell you. She's 74 years old. And that's one of the young ones I text with.
Right. What are you talking about? She lives in the Cape, all right? She's got 2 children, 3 grandchildren. What's your problem?
And she's a big Phillies fan, and yet we somehow are able to get past that.
Exactly. But anyway, this all goes back to, if you miss any part of the show, really, floridasportsnetwork.com. It's right there. Bada bing, bada boom. Got it. 1.2 billion. Do you even show up for work tomorrow? Is that so much money? You know me, I'd walk around for 2 weeks like big man on campus.
I'll be here tomorrow if I win. I promise you.
Because the way we communicate now, since we're not in the same studio, is you send me a link at about 5:45 a.m. Am I to assume that if about 10 to 6 tomorrow morning I don't have a link that you won?
No, if I want, either way, win or lose, I will do the show tomorrow. All I want to do is get enough money for my wife to not work, if you want to know the absolute truth. She's been working hard. Right. She needs the break. I don't need the break. This, you and I have said for a long time, this really isn't work.
Will you DoorDash Chick-fil-A?
No. Really? No. Why? You know me in fast food.
No, but it's for me, not you for you. I mean, you can certainly afford it.
I was going to say, Mark, I can't believe you didn't know. He was not talking about, it's all about what we can do for him, Mark. Come on now. He's 22. That's how it works. Don't you remember?
One of
All
us
right.
if one of us is a billionaire, we're all millionaires. Think about it that way.
It depends. You got to make the cut. Like
Damn
Felipe,
right.
I'm being real serious. I am being very serious, Felipe. Very serious. There's not an ounce of shtick in this. Because I have thought about the whole, especially I spent a lot of time on planes. I've thought about the whole, okay, if you won an obscene amount of money, who would make the cut? And then you have to figure out, are these $500,000 people make the cut, or is this seven figure?
Is this the cut?
Is this
Is
crooked
this the
number?
Or is this the PGA Tour, David?
Exactly. Right. No doubt about it. Okay. Is this the what's the tour right below the PGA Tour?
Corn Ferry.
Right. Are we like Felipe, you're a Corn Ferry guy. Okay. You would get a check. All right, because the show would go away. All right, and we would set you up. Okay, either one of us, I'm pretty sure. For me, Felipe, you'd be a Corn Ferry guy. Okay, then there's a PGA Tour guy, and then there's a live guy.
Okay. I might have been a little slightly sarcastic there with the whole we're all millionaires, but I would make sure that you guys retire like relatively soon.
Did you buy a ticket?
No.
Felipe, I will say, this thing is so big. I'm buying tickets in every state I travel to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's smart.
And if I'm close enough, I've driven across state lines to buy a ticket.
Now hold up. There aren't like stupid rules where you have to be a resident from where you
Not
buy
at
it.
all.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
That'd be stupid.
I don't even think you have to be an American citizen. You could be a German tourist, I think, and just show up in Ohio and buy a ticket and win. I mean,
Yes, absolutely. You buy a ticket, you're a winner chicken dinner if you get the right numbers.
But but to be honest, I mean, okay, you win the obscene amount of money and what have you, and you're going to take care of some people. Like, first off, and Mark and I were close, all right? And we would take care of each other anyway. But the other reason that we would take care of each other is that the guy who won is probably going to stop doing the show. So he's going to feel a little guilty that he's putting the other one out of work.
And for $1.2 billion, we could definitely take care of one another.
Right. Could sit down and do that. I mean, Mark, I'm not kidding. I have envisioned this is how it would go. All right. Wife and I would show up at your place. We'd sit down and we'd say, okay, what do you need? Well, I need this. I need this. I want to stop working, this, that, and the other thing. And I go, okay, in college. Okay, well, I would need this for college. All right. So then that's the minimum. And then I would say, all right, what do you want? Well, now that you ask, okay, let's do the math. What do we think that adds up to? It's probably a crooked number. The 2 commas and a crooked number, right? Yeah, okay,
Absolutely.
Here you go. Here you go. Probably here's $3 million. Okay, here you go. We'll do tomorrow's show, and then that'll be it. We good?
Boy, it'd be a hell of a last show.
Yes, it would.
It'd be a hell of a last show.
Man.
Here's the problem that I would have. Not giving any away. Here's the only problem with not doing the show, because I'll do the show win or lose. But I probably, in fact, almost for sure, will not check my tickets tomorrow morning before coming to work. I'll probably leave it for after the show. But if I were to find out during the show that the ticket was sold in Southwest Florida, then I would have a hard time staying here for the rest of the show and not checking it.
I have to admit,
wasn't there a recent winner in Southwest Florida?
There was.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue, David.
If here's the deal, I'll pledge you this. If you still want to continue, like let's just say I win, and you still want to do this, I'm okay with it. We got to change the hours. I don't want to get up at 5 anymore.
Figure 9 to 10 from this. Just do the bonus hour.
Right. That's all I'm saying. I think if I'm writing you a 7-figure check and the first digit's crooked, can I change the hours of the show?
Oh, David, it's a podcast full time. That's all we're doing, because I think if we won and didn't work, there would still be things that we'd want to get off our chest in the sports world, and we'd have the ability to do that. It would change from Miller and Moulton to the Billionaire Podcast. It's that simple.
I was thinking, like, let's just say I won. Miller and the Billionaire. Okay, and if you won, we do it the other way. The Billionaire and Moulton. But okay.
Once a week, an hour tops.
No. We got to do it every day. No. Every day.
Well,
every day.
We can do it on location because we would definitely be at one. That's for certain.
Right. Well, I mean, Mark, make sure when you get that place in Costa Rica, it's just got really good internet. That's all.
All that matters.
That's all.
Just a good Wi-Fi connection and port there.
By the way, Twitch chat's saying maybe one of you can buy me a man car and not a mom car.
Absolutely.
You know what, Felipe? I'll get you the one you actually wanted, not the one you settled for.
Done. Sasquatch wheels and everything. Yeah.
But Felipe, you're a Corn Ferry guy. Okay. I've just said you can't retire on the amount of money that you would get from either Miller or Moulton.
I'm all cool with that.
Okay. But you could
be an owner.
But you could, since you want to probably work and live in Miami one day, or you want to have something to do with the NBA, we would give you enough money where you could probably leave the 239 and go to New York or go to Miami and pursue the career that you wanted to pursue, and you'd have money. You could, put in a few years paying dues because, you've been taken care of.
Sounds good to me. I'll go to a lot of Heat games. I'll be the owner of season tickets for the Miami Heat. How about that?
He's aiming the bar really low.
I was going to say, is that paying your dues to like get a job with the Heat?
No,
but I'll sit row 18.
No, he's just going to take the money and buy stuff, and when it runs out, then he'll have to figure out what he's going to do.
Imagine that. He's 22, right? Okay. Yeah.
Miller and Moulton. Corn Ferry Tour, huh? You're sure about that? Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, I'm sorry I keep cutting off. Really, it's just it's weird not having you around here.
Okay.
And like I try to look at you in the Twitch chat, but it's delayed on my end, so I can't. I'm sorry, my bad. Also, Guillermo, I'm not a millennial, dude.
No, he's a Gen Zer. That's worse.
Oh, yeah. We're menaces.
You're not menaces. You're stupid.
No, we're also the most hyperly
You're stupid.
We are the most
Okay.
hyper.
I already know what
intelligent.
you are. You're not intelligent.
We have attained more information.
Doesn't make you intelligent. Obtaining information does not make one intelligent.
You're right,
Using that information in a proper way makes you intelligent. Having all kinds of information does not make you an intelligent person.
But we know a lot.
No, you hear a lot. I would argue you know zero. You hear a lot, you don't listen.
Right, but that's a good point. But it's up to people to.
No, it's up to you. It's not up to me to do anything for you.
No, I know, but it's up to like us as in Gen Zers to hear what we're listening to and make a rightful judgment of it or a wrongful judgment of it. We hear a lot.
Go back and listen to that after the show, what you just said, and tell me that was an intelligent statement. Go listen to what you said.
Well, you can hear something, but
no. I want you to once again, you just took what I said. Go listen to what you just said, and you didn't listen to it. You just responded. I beg of you to listen more. I beg of you to listen more. It's like talking to my mother, for Christ's sake. She's at least old. She gave up listening a long time ago.
So Miss Argentina and Miss Puerto Rico went and secretly got married. Oh, that's just shockwaves right here. That'll be scandalous in those countries.
Mark, I'm telling you, you got to go watch it. Do you have Hulu?
Yes, we do. We don't use it, but we have access to it.
Watch God Forbid.
How did Jake react to the Ross Chastain thing, by the way?
He loved it. He was actually in a deer blind hunting when it happened.
Oh, my gosh.
He was shooting a doe.
Nice. I only went hunting once, and I almost broke my nose shooting the gun because it smacked me.
I've never hunted. I've shot maybe 5 guns in my life.
It's pretty fun. Did it when I was like 10 years old.
Not me, Logic Man. I have no desire to own any sort of a franchise. I would disappear. If I won that, I would disappear.
Not even a pickleball team.
Did you see the people investing in Tigers? That's what I thought we could talk about here.
No, I've seen the pickleball list of people.
No, you know Tiger and Rory's thing? Their virtual golf. They just listed their their investors. It's Lewis Hamilton, Josh Allen, Larry Fitzgerald, Tony Romo, Justin Timberlake, Andy Murray, Serena Williams.
Wow.
Steph Curry, Iguodala, Chris Paul, Jason Tatum, Jose Altidore, Alex Morgan, Ohtani, Sidney Crosby.
Dude. And it's like what? A virtual 18 holes?
Their virtual golf.
Huh. You got 20 seconds. Ten seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes after the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, along with some final thoughts, all roughly 20 minutes away. So the NASCAR guys are doing a presser, Mark, in Charlotte, and then they're all flying to Phoenix tonight. And the owners had their presser yesterday. The drivers have their presser today. The the whole some drivers not happy with Chastain and what he did and the whole thing.
Right.
Apparently, the fans feel very differently. So, Trackhouse Racing, which is in Martinsville, or no, it's in North Carolina. But the car he used, apparently Trackhouse Racing has had a ton of people just show up, knocking on the front door going, "Hey, can we get a picture with the car?" And the NASCAR, the Hall of Fame called. And they want to display the car.
The NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Right. Wants to display the car. The whole right side, which has been sheared off. Yeah, they want to display the car. So the fans and the NASCAR Hall of Fame, they're all in. They love it. Kyle Larson and a few of the drivers, it's just not racing. I will give NASCAR credit. They came out yesterday and said, yeah, it was legal and it's going to remain legal. And all this talk that some of you are doing, we're not doing any of it, okay? It's racing.
It's about going the fastest.
Right. He did that final lap 2 seconds faster than anybody else did that final lap.
When's the last time the sport got this kind of juice, David?
And by this kind of juice, it's like, competing against the NFL and the World Series, and yet the people on sports shows and what have you have been talking NASCAR. Huh.
I mean, McAfee brought it up. He's the hottest thing going in this industry right now. He's retweeting it.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of Daytona 500s where we've had crazy endings, and we had Trevor Bayne however many years ago who, the fact that he had a ride in the race and when he won it, but no, this is like mainstream people in the other stick and ball sports who are tweeting out to their millions of followers, "Holy blank, did you see this?"
And NASCAR people universally love it. That's the other side of this, is that the NASCAR fan, as you've pointed out, they are all on board with this.
Right. Doesn't matter if you're your son who's in his early 20s, all right, if it's us or if it's even the generation before us, the old school guys who haven't really, they didn't even like Jeff Gordon. So they haven't liked a driver who didn't debut since the 70s or 80s.
But you said it yesterday. This is something in their heads that Earnhardt would have done.
Correct. That's what Ryan McGee tweeted out. Ryan McGee said, and McGee's close with Dale Jr. I think he wrote his book with him, or at least did the forward. Okay, but he said, all the NASCAR people I know, that is the comment that I have gotten. The only other driver that I think would have done this was the Intimidator.
Rarefied air. And I told you when the race finished and when Ross Chastain got out of his car, it's hard to hear the crowd at a NASCAR race, even when the race is over. But when he got out of his car on pit row, the place went nuts. Nuts.
I think it was NASCAR who put out yesterday. They put out a bunch of the car video from other drivers and matched up their audio. And so, at some point, Ross is passing them on the right. And between the driver's comments and his spotter's comments from up above, the comments are hysterical, amazing. Holy blank, what was that? Was that Chastain? And then the spotter going, spotters who are in the middle of a sentence and they stop and they go, car on the right up against the wall? I mean,
it's going to slow down, not speed up.
I mean, it's remarkable.
One other thing that I wanted to get to here quickly, David, the whole Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy tech golf venture,
Mm-hmm.
they just announced their list of investors to go along with Woods and McIlroy. And it is an impressive list. I'll give you some of the highlights. Justin Timberlake, Serena Williams, Steph Curry, Lewis Hamilton, Alex Morgan, Larry Fitzgerald, Josh Allen, Tony Romo, Chris Paul, Ohtani, Sidney Crosby are among the investors in this TMRW Sports.
Now, this is January through April of 24, right?
Yes.
And I don't fully understand it. When this story first broke earlier this year, the reaction we got was mixed. I will say this, the people in the golf industry, because there's a lot of people in and around that, I cross paths with in television. They all think this is going to be a really BFD.
They are starting in January with, I believe it's 15 2-hour Monday night events. And then there's going to be a semi and a final. Virtual venue, televised in prime time with teams of PGA players. Look it, we're on Twitch. And Twitch is a medium that is mostly used by people who watch other people play video games.
Correct.
It is very foreign. Still, we've been doing Twitch for a couple of years. Miller and Moulton still look at Twitch like, what are we on again? I've joked I'm going to start playing my daughter in PlayStation games to build up our Twitch audience. I'm all for the virtual games. They're fun. I like video. You're not a video game person. I like video games. I've played in some of the simulators with golf. It's a lot of fun. The idea of watching other people on simulators does nothing for me. But then again, I'm not part of this audience that's watching Twitch to watch other video gamers out there.
Well, but I have had people who are my age or older say that they will love this because, they use simulators. They'll, in their golfing life, they'll kill time, they'll test out clubs and what have you in simulators. So they think it's going to be, and also the nights that they're talking about doing it, Monday night or a Monday and or a Tuesday. And they're kind of like, well, what the hell else is on? Why wouldn't I watch this?
I'd rather go to the simulator and play myself personally. And I get it. A lot of people do simulators because they're not where we are, where we can play golf 12 months a year.
True.
I have friends that are members of courses in Michigan that they play in simulator leagues in the winter and cold weather time of the year. I totally get it. If I lived up there, I'd be doing the same damn thing. I don't see watching video games as an outlet for me.
Okay, very quickly, we're talking about winning the $1.2 billion Powerball. So you a little bit of money aside, you want to invest it. And I say to you, you've got a choice. You can invest in the pickleball league or this video golf venture.
I'd rather open a restaurant. Those all going up in flames.
Okay, come on, either or.
I guess the video golf. But I don't think either will work, for the record. I think they will both be huge, gigantic busts. Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly today was a day win. That's all next on the Florida Sports Network.
Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, if the question is if one is more successful than the other, I think the VR golf would probably hit more.
I do too, because Tiger is going to get a lot of network cooperation.
Exactly. Also, he's got Pop Stroke, which is successful, and this is kind of like a Top Golf-like thing. Just a revolutionary way of experiencing golf. It's cool.
Exactly, JB Vike. I mean, there are things we have been unbelievably wrong about. I mean, the NFL draft moving it to Thursday night, to the second, third round on Friday. What are they thinking? Tell you what, though, the list.
Oh, sorry.
No, go.
My only thing, Logic Man, and I get you. I totally understand what you're saying, but they play the video game. I just can't imagine people watching video games, and maybe they will. I primetime television watching a video, and I don't know. You know, they got all these investors. To me, Seton O'Connor said on the Dan Patrick Show just about the pickleball. Just shows me there's too many people with too much money out there. I agree with him. And again, Adam, it's using them versus watching someone else use them. Maybe you guys are right. Maybe in 50 years, we'll just be watching virtual reality sports.
But like Mark pointed out, the Twitch phenomenon, the fact that millions of people will go on Twitch and watch other people play video games. I mean, what for years now in Los Angeles at Staples, I know it's not Staples anymore, but they have a multi-day convention in which it's 18,000 people in the stands watching people play video games. But I mean,
do I'll even say, and I don't know how much video games Felipe plays. I've never really asked. My kid used to play a lot of video games. I talked to him the other day. He goes, I don't use the PlayStation anymore. He goes, I'd rather do other things. He's 23. He goes, I'd rather go out. I'd rather socialize with people.
Yeah, I play a lot less.
But first off, the average golf audience is people in their 50s and older. And what else are they doing?
I will say, though, there's a lot of kids my age because 2K, like the NBA 2K, they just made a 2K golf. And a lot of kids are playing that. And I bet it's good.
But playing it versus watching pros play a simulator, we're talking about completely.
Right.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. It's been a remarkable show in this sense. And welcome, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, blah, 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 blah. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Final thoughts, all coming up. Most days we struggle to do one poll question. Today, we've brought up about 5 different topics that would all make a great poll question, including the one we were just debating and discussing. All the famous people with money who are investing in this Tiger Rory video golf league that's going to start in 14 months, January of 2024. That's when it's going to start. And it led into me posing the question to you. If, you had a little money laying around, would you invest in the video golf thing or the pickleball league? Because the list of prominent people who are buying pickleball franchises for this, and now there's apparently a competing pickleball league. I mean, so we're going to have a USFL, XFL of pickleball too? I mean, oh my goodness.
Well, we got one sweet and sour league, one kosher dill league. Is that what's going on?
Well, apparently we're going to have like a PGA Tour and LIV. Apparently there's so much demand for pickleball. So, but that's a poll question. Video golf or pickleball? You win the Powerball, where you invest in your money in. Now, we're not saying all of it, by the way. We're not even saying 1% of it, but you know what we mean. You're going to throw some money around. Let's face it. You win $1.2 billion, even after taxes, you're going to throw some money around. You are. Come on. Somebody's going to rope you in. Come on. Give me some seed money for this. What? Your
for
wife's
the
going to
ball
go.
League.
Exactly. And somebody in your inner circle is going to go, oh, dude, that's a winner. Man, I wish I had the money. I'd do it. Really?
They tried team tennis when tennis was actually an important sport. It failed miserably. Miserably.
Listen, the thing I would have gone bankrupt on, arena football.
Yep.
I can't believe it didn't work. Can't believe it that it didn't work. I think we could bring it back next summer. Let me get this straight. It's football, air conditioning, beer sales. What am I missing? How is this not working?
Well, football morphed into arena football. Maybe that's why.
Ooh, look, nice quality right there. In fact, that's it. We're going to let you rough the passer. How about that? That'll be our one big thing in our arena league that you and I start. No. Football. No, you can beat the hell out of the quarterback. We don't care.
We will not call unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and we will not call roughing the passer.
Exactly. In fact, look at our penalty list. They're not on it. You can celebrate. Don't care where and when you take your helmet off. Hell, as far as we're concerned, you could run a pass pattern without a helmet on. Don't care. So, But that's a poll question we could go to: the video golf or pickleball. What would you invest in? The whole just, is your wife okay with you having a female friend?
Which is a great question.
It really is. And we're not talking about somebody at work that, you see every day and, you send the occasional text to. I'm talking about, no, I'm going out with Jackie and her husband and, so-and-so and what have you. So you could stay home and you don't feel well. And, the five of us are going out. What? No, yeah, a bunch of us after work, we're going to get together. We're
That's what it is. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm going out with Susie, Sharon, and Jill.
Right.
You're doing what?
Yeah, Tony and I are going to, meet up with Susie, Sharon, and Jill. We're going to have a drink. I'll be home about 7:30. Right. Will that fly?
I don't think.
Right. My wife has been very open and honest. She has said, I'm open about a lot of things. Nah, I'm not really open about that one.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start with a little history. 1783, General George Washington bids farewell to his army after the Revolutionary War. 1824, the popular presidential vote was first recorded when Andrew Jackson beats John Quincy Adams. 1852, Franklin Pierce is elected president. 1880, James Garfield is elected president. 1895, we ran the Belmont in November.
What the heck?
Because the New York Jockey Club was closing out its affairs, and they did not run the race until November that year. 1898, cheerleading begins in the United States as Johnny Campbell leads the crowd cheering on the football team at the University of Minnesota.
Oh, I was going to say Chicago.
Warren Harding elected as president today in 1920. 1947, at the Portland Golf Club, the U.S. wins the first Ryder Cup in the post-World War II event, 11-1. Ben Hogan, the honorary captain.
You were so fast there. Not only, did Harding win today, today's his birthday.
Well, we get to that a little bit later, but yes, you are right. It is his birthday. 54, Strom Thurmond is the first senator elected by a write-in vote. He'd only be senator for another, 60 years?
He only stopped like a week ago yesterday.
1964, the Columbia Broadcasting System buys an 80% share in the Yankees for $11.2 million.
And it was literally the beginning when the Yankees got old. They were in the World Series 5 consecutive years. 60 through 64. All right. 1-2, lost 3. So they go to the World Series. They lose in 7 to the Cardinals. A couple of weeks later, CBS buys the Yankees. The Yankees go in the tank for damn near 10 straight years.
1969, at the age of 41, Gordie Howe picks up his 19th and final hat trick. The oldest player to score an NHL hat trick. Today in 76, Carter's elected president. Today in 78, Wayne Gretzky is sold to the Edmonton Oilers after just 8 games with the Indianapolis Racers.
Man.
6 points in 8 games. He would then score 104 points in 72 games and named Rookie of the Year.
Another poll question. All right. Worst sell-off in sports history. The Nets with Irving from the Nets to the Sixers, Gretzky from Indianapolis to Edmonton, Babe Ruth, Boston to the Yankees, all to finance a play. A play!
In 83, Thriller, the single was released by Michael Jackson.
Oh, my goodness.
Today in 1990, the Golden State Warriors beat the Denver Nuggets 162-158 in regulation. The 320 would be the most scored in a non-overtime game. In 03, Arrested Development premieres. The Cubs would beat the Indians for their first title in 108 years today in 2016. And a year ago, the Braves would take out the Astros for the World Series. Those celebrating birthdays that are no longer with us, Daniel Boone, Marie Antoinette, James Polk, our 11th president, as David mentioned earlier, Warren G. Harding, our 29th president, Burt Lancaster, those celebrating birthdays today. Golfer David Stockton is 81, Mark May is 63, singer Katie Lang is 61, David Swimmer is 56, Nelly is 48, and Roddy White is 41, David.
Okay. The Martin Luther King Jr. holiday was declared on this day in 1983. All right. Reagan had to, because he vetoed it and they overrode his veto. So, and I got one other thing. Oh, yeah. Dewey defeated Truman today. In 48, which is funny because Truman won and stuck around another 4 years.
Imagine that.
That's not what the paper said. Just remember, Charles Schwartzel is never going to win the Masters.
That is correct. If it's in print, it's got to be true.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Matt Lachey, where Maselli's restaurant is open. After 5 weeks post-Hurricane Ian, they got their everything they could get done, and they opened yesterday. It's first day of business after being closed 5 weeks. Congratulations to the owners and all the workers. Full menu, music 7 days a week. Probably a place you should go to and leave a big tip because their workers have been out of work for quite a while. For the back of Fort Myers Beach, where Jonah Runnels and Alyssa Olmstead were caught looting. And they're even bigger scumbags, especially Jonah, who had an FPL emergency response deal on his truck. So he was waved through by deputies, and it finally took a Pasco's County sheriff who was patrolling the beach, saw something suspicious. They pulled up. Alyssa was knocking down some champagne, and her guy there, Jonah, was looting someone's home. They've been arrested, thank goodness. Finally, the ugly. We go to Naples, where some folks were redoing their floors. Now it was past 11 o'clock at night, and their neighbor, David Black, came over to complain about the noise. And they said they were redoing the floors, to which David Black responded, "Well, then I guess I'm going to have to shoot you." And he pulled out his revolver and fired a shot into the air. When he was arrested, they found that gun, 15 more, 3 rifles, and 3 duffel bags filled with ammo. He was then taken to jail. And that, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, November the 2nd, 2022.
Man.
Right?
We got a lot of stuff going on these days. Did you hear about the teacher who got shot over bad grades? I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on.
I did. And that was disturbing to even put in the list.
Right. You try not to, go there. You try not to go to death.
Right.
There's a humorous part to it, But
and that's very rare.
Right.
It's possible, but it's very rare.
Right. It's just in death is usually not funny. Hey, we got action tonight, baby. All right. I know Game 4 of the World Series, whatever. Nola for the Phillies, their number 2 starter. Javier for the Astros, their number 4 starter. But can we just, on ESPNU at 7 o'clock, we got 2 2-6 teams playing against one another, okay? All right, Central Michigan and Northern Illinois. Central Michigan, which would have been a terrific team this year because they were really good last year. Here's the problem. Their 6 best players all transferred to Power 5 schools. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And now they're 2-6. See how that works? And then also at 7 o'clock on the Deuce, Mark, Western Michigan and Bowling Green. Just so you know, the home teams are both favored. Northern Illinois by 6, Bowling Green by 4.5.
Cavs and Celtics tonight. Pretty good game.
It is a good game.
As far as that's the one I probably think's the best NBA game tonight. The Heat are at home taking on Sacramento. They're a 6-point favorite in that one. Big NBA night tonight.
Heat are going to lose tonight.
You think because they played hard last night. They really gave it an effort last night.
Well, there's that. They got to take the West Coast trip home, and the Kings always beat the Heat in Miami, and they have Malik Monk, who is a Miami Heat killer. There's a list of Heat killers.
They don't have to take any trip home. They played at home last night.
I mean, you're totally right.
I'm aware of that. I watched them play.
Sorry, the Phillies
Heat fan.
Heat fan. Whatever.
Best part about tonight in the NBA, though, is the Wizards play the Sixers, and it starts at 6 o'clock.
Ooh. Yeah. It's because we need you to leave the parking lot. We need the spots. To be honest with you, they should have played the game at 4.
Exactly.
For those that have never been to Philadelphia, you got the baseball stadium and the football stadium, and you have the arena that the Sixers and the Flyers play in, and they're all in the same area. They use the same lots for everything.
2 NHL games tonight. The Flyers are on the road in Toronto. Pittsburgh is on the road facing Buffalo.
Do you simply do this tonight? Because Toronto and Buffalo are the home teams, and neither one of them played last night. So they're rested. Meanwhile, the Flyers and Penguins both played last night. Both lost in overtime. All right. Do you just take the home teams who are rested tonight?
I just wonder if Pittsburgh's going to play really hard the way they blew that game last night.
What, you mean up 5-2 late second? You think they might be annoyed?
It's one of those games people better show up. That's all I'm saying.
Got that right.
That's one where if you don't show up for that one, you better be worried about what happens when you get back to your stall from the road trip, if you know what I mean.
All right. You and I sticking with the Stros?
Yes.
I think tonight's the series, by the way. Whoever wins the series. Could go 7, but whoever wins tonight wins the series.
And we both like the Astros tonight. Miller and Moulton both picked the Astros in 6 for the record.
I did pick the Phillies to win last night, though. I got that hunch right.
Dr. Roto on the show tomorrow, taking your fantasy questions. Miller and Moulton, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're